Thanks for being here. And shout out to Wick, I guess, for the raid. Thanks. Much appreciated. Wick, hope you had a really good stream. We're probably gonna have a shortened version of our usual thing here, but we're gonna do all black everything. In just a moment. Unfortunately, scheduling is not on our side. But we will endeavor to do our best. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh man, I'm always happy to have you. How are you doing, friend?
I'm pretty blessed, man. You know, I'm first one here. I'm just demonstrating my willingness and availability. I don't know what I don't have to say there. What's good, bro?
Nothing. Just I'm just chilling out here. Unfortunately, now I'm gonna repeat this a few times. It seems like half the panel will only stay pretty much as long as you can. So we'll just be it'll just be a shorter day.
Yeah.
Probably. But we'll do our best. And yeah. I'm sure we can do something that's entertaining. Hopefully others get here soon, but they be brown people, so you know.
Yeah, they be niggas.
Yep.
Yeah, I would be late too if it wasn't for the fact that I'm always already home on Thursdays.
Okay. You do your church thing, right? Your
Yeah, that's on Saturdays and Sundays, and then my band is on Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Tuesday, so not Thursdays then.
Not Thursdays. No, Thursday is a free day.
Okay, I thought that's what you did practice.
You're saying no, it's not practice. I just have a Bible study in my church. It's online.
Yeah, no, I think you did tell me. Yeah, okay, yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of Bible.
I mean, you've been through it, Letha. You know how amazing it can be.
I don't know about amazing, but I definitely went through it.
Yeah, I was there. I was pantomiming, Fanatic in a band. I did this like he's a goddamn drummer, like.
Oh no, wrong instrument.
Yeah,
it's still percussion.
I saw my dude do solo and was just killing it, like on the keyboard, destroying it. I respect the hell out of it.
Does the piano count as percussion?
It is for some stupid reason. I don't know why, but yeah, they consider
usually in a classical piano, you have hammers that are hitting strings.
But it's still a string instrument though.
The
strings. Because your fingers, like in a guitar, they pluck the strings and make the noise. So why wouldn't? Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those weird classifications. It can be considered a string or percussion, and then they also have their own classification as keyboard. So it's like 3.
Okay.
Yeah, because the organ, like electric piano and all that stuff, they're all in there. Sometimes people refer to them in their own unique classification.
To my audience, such as it may be, chill for a bit. We got other people coming, and then we're gonna get started. This is actually gonna go a lot, be a lot more fast and more direct than my usual streams. But and so if you're wondering, hey, when they're gonna get started? Well, I don't fucking know. Actually, really, it depends on when the people arrive. But we are working on it. So please be patient, and we will put on a show for you.
Prime got a date.
Yeah. Wow. God, have I ever had a date while this show's been going on? Huh. I don't. Maybe. No. I have. Yeah. I couldn't remember it. It's been so few and far between. Yeah. Actually, yeah. In fact, I've actually had to cancel ABE, for a woman, before the past. Actually, I have.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So we know now at least that he's host before bros.
I do the same shit. I fell him on for some cheeks. He just said fuck but fuck black topics. fuck spreading. Fuck the ex socioeconomic status of black people. It's cheeks out there, folks.
There's about to be a black experience somewhere.
Bro.
It's all taken care of. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of respected that it was a black experience. You know, that makes me, respect you a little bit more. You weren't tainting yourself, you know? With them dirty feet. No offense, Lethy.
Crazy.
Really
Crazy, bro.
No, okay, look, man. Look, we ain't thinking of ourselves. No, we're expanding the gene pool is what we're doing, right?
Ugh, you mean tainting. You mean diminishing. I mean, any of these words work, you know what I mean? But it kind of is what it is.
Oh no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, but it's not that. It's not that. No.
Oh, I'm just kind of on my Dr. Umar today.
Any ladies of any color out there, I love you. All right. Prime does not discriminate. Putting that out there. All right.
I love. Okay, well, if we're gonna do that, I'm gonna say I love any of you people out there too. I love you too. I don't lust after all of you equally, but I love you all.
What do you mean, you people?
You know what I mean? Everything that qualifies as a people, things that don't have calcified pineal glands,
Bleed over from yesterday's panel. I swear it has to be.
No, that's my go-to, bro. Whenever I hear that phrase, like whenever it just blows my mind. I remember discovering that.
Gland. I've heard this before, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you heard it on your panel actually when we were talking about school shooting, and in that panel I was describing, what the wanton white rage that leads to school shooting, and I was saying that there must be something to it. We just don't know what it is because black people deal with adverse situations and we don't go shooting up schools. But and so I was positing that it might be possibly related to a calcified pineal gland. Who know? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying we don't know. But basically, the pineal gland. I don't really know anything about it, bro. I wish I did. It's something to do with like I guess people. I don't know. People say that it's like a connection with spirituality, and that black people their pineal gland is what connects them to spirituality, and then those same people that believe in that say that white people's pineal glands are calcified. And indeed, like scientifically, a lot of white people's pineal glands are calcified, but so are other people's too, probably. I don't know.
The pineal gland is a small endocrine gland in the brain of most vertebrates. It produces melatonin, a serotonin-derived hormone, which modulates sleep patterns following the diurnal cycles. The shape of the gland resembles a pine cone, which gives it its name. The pineal gland is located in the epithalamus, near the center of the brain, between the two hemispheres, tucked in a groove where the two halves of the thalamus join. It is one of the neuroendocrine secretory circumvestibular organs, in which capillaries are mostly permeable to solids in the blood. So there you go.
There you go.
It's supposed to regulate your circadian rhythm, and like most young adults have a calcified pineal gland. It can happen as early as age 2, and having a calcified pineal gland earlier in life tends to accelerate the growth of the skeleton and sexual organs.
Oh, okay, definitely not calcified here.
No, that makes so much sense. I've struggled with sleep my entire life, like forever. And I also have a particularly large organ, so I feel like they were talking to me.
Pause. Nigga, Jesus Christ.
Dang, they don't know my life.
It's definitely one of those things that like the what do you call them? The spiritual guru type people talk about, and like, oh,
Yeah.
how you calcify your pineal gland and tap into your third eye kind of nonsense. And
it's always that.
It's all goofy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of any of that nonsense. Legitimately, if it ain't biblical and it's spiritual, get it out of my face 100% of the time.
You're a little gainy. So consider.
Did you get a new cable? Please tell me you got a new cable.
I did get a new cable.
So that's maybe why, because you were boosting it before. Yeah.
Let me see. Go to sounds. Yeah, I'll fix it right now.
Yeah. Take your time. Waterkai, you got your camera turned on in the Discord. Letting you know.
That was wild. It was at 100. I never have it that high.
Who were you yelling at yesterday?
Nobody. I was on an amazing panel in which there was zero yelling because we were all just vibing out to great conversation. I had no
I was
reason to
being
yell.
after that.
Oh no, I was just in a chill mood.
It was a good time. We missed you, Solus.
I don't even folk. I was in the middle of the shift, and I was like, I looked at the motherfuckers in the panel, and I was just like, damn. Well, you know, being an
I
adult.
kept hitting you. I kept hitting you on the group chat, like, "Oh, you coming? Yo, you coming?" Then like, let me
Bro,
DM this man.
I was at work, fucking bullshitting with motherfuckers around the water cooler. Like I was doing everything to milk them hours. Yeah, I was.
Hey, paper first.
Mm. But yeah, hopefully the others will be here soon.
Especially
Like,
Bam. I gotta see my nigga Bam, fo. I got questions. I got a lot to ask. Folks tagged me in some shit on Twitter, and I don't know what it meant. I don't know if it was an insult or not. And secondly, we gotta talk. What does anybody else notice Bam's pessimistic attitude towards society? Is it just me, or is Bam always saying some shit about like how society is not as accepting as people think they are? This is like a recurring bag that Bam will get into if you allow him to do it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you said it before. I think I haven't noticed it as some sort of like ongoing pattern.
If I ever ask Bam about greater society, his answer is always like the most. I don't say it's like pessimistic. It's like damn near elitist. Like if I was like, Bam, you think most people are honest folk? Like, nah, fuck no, I don't really think that. And like, there's always shit like that. And not that I have anything wrong with that. I just want to know why. Like, where does this come from?
Yeah, actually, I don't know. We got another one here. All right. Slowly filling out the roster. All right. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Um. Stalling for time again. Sorry, folks. We're just waiting for the others to join. Then we're gonna jump right into the topic. We should do a free topic start. But half the panel's gotta leave. I think more than half the panel has to leave earlier. So we'll just get to it when they come here. Fanatic.
Yup.
I got something to say. It references our previous conversation about Palestinians and having discord, I guess, I don't know, with people, with black individuals online previously. And I guess I can understand some sort of pushback to that. You know, in case people don't know, right? Like the problem was that there were a lot of black individuals who were um critical of Joe Biden when he was still the Democratic nominee. But then those same people became and critical specifically on his Gaza stance. But they became to cheerlead and cape for Kamala Harris when she got on the stage, and they got called out by Kamala Harris by Palestinians online, right? And you said you had a problem with that, but
Yeah.
well, first of all, to be clear, why did you have a problem with that? Let me start there.
Okay, so my problem wasn't with people having a problem. I mean, okay. That take, the way you just explained it, is completely ignorant of the motivation behind black people's support, right? Okay. Because in this situation, it's like we have our American problems to deal with, and Donald Trump is a genuine threat. And so when black people are making this choice, which I'm reluctant to advocate for in any capacity, but to support Kamala in order to avoid Trump, I think for Palestinians, to start making the kind of statement, oh well, yeah, see, you never cared in the first place. Take Free Gaza out of your bio and so on and so forth. It seems almost dismissive of the personal agency that American Africans have in making their decisions on who they want to support, and our own political ambition and our political acumen, like to tell us that we don't have a right to decide to vote for any particular person, automatically is disenfranchising to some degree, and it's disrespectful. And so when they began like saying those kinds of things and then started expressing anti-blackness and a lot of their sentiments while coupling those things together, to me, it's like, oh, you don't deserve my support. If you can let it come out of your mouth, like let anti-blackness come out of your mouth because I didn't toe the line that you felt should be told. Yeah, at this point, I'm kind of cool off you. Yeah, I'm good with not supporting the person that you want me to. Like, I'm a petty nigga, so you've made me want to go to the other end.
This we
Yeah,
know.
100%. So now
yeah.
I want to go to to something else. I mean, I'm not going to personally. I'm not supporting no Kamala Harris, but I'm saying like it makes me want to, just because of how to spite them niggas.
So I have not seen any anti-blackness from that side. Not saying that you're wrong, Fanatic. I'm being very clear.
I can send you a 4-part series.
Smooth, do you think?
A 4-4 series? What?
A 4-part series. Smooth said he got a cup and a
sorry.
tuck ready to go.
Okay.
I got all of the tick.
Okay. All right. Well, please do. Because fuck people who would all of a sudden start spewing anti-blackness, right? Like, yeah, because that tells you about like if those people are actually in community, right? And to be clear, when I'm saying those people, I'm just talking about the individual, I don't know, TikTokers or social media, Twitter users who may have said that. I certainly wouldn't indict the entire Palestinian community, right? Because then that would be anti-Palestinian, in the same way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with the narrow notion that they should take Free Gaza out of their bio, 100% right. 100% right. 100% right. Absolutely.
Okay.
If you don't like them saying it, I'll say it for them. 100% right.
Okay.
Kamala Harris has been saying, in no uncertain terms, that she is lockstep with Biden, right? The Republicans are hitting her up right now, right? Because she went on The View and they asked her a simple question. Hey, well, what would you have done differently than Biden, right? And she's like, I can't think of anything.
Nothing comes to mind.
Nothing comes to mind. Nothing, literally nothing comes to mind.
Wait, are you talking about the same View where she said she'd have a Republican in her cabinet?
No, that would be different. Yeah, I think that's probably the same interview. Yeah. She said something else wild in that interview too, but I can't remember right this moment. But yeah, like Kamala and I know so she says that she'll do nothing different, but I think she will, right? I think she'll be more conservative than the Biden administration, right? Because I've been giving props because people force it out of me. I give props to the Biden administration for certain things that was done, right? For instance, the FTC chair, right, Lena Khan, right, doing great stuff. In terms of like fighting big business, like taking Google to task, taking like a bunch of these like big mega corporations, taking the social media platforms to task, right? She's been crushing it. And it turns out the big business donors to Kamala Harris don't like her, right? And they are mobilizing to get rid of her. And Kamala Harris and like has said nothing. She's literally said nothing about it the entire time. Like they the billionaires giving to her campaign are telling her, yeah, we want this woman gone. And Kamala says nothing. The silence is deafening, right? So I think she would. The difference here would be that she would be more conservative than Biden. She'd be literally worse than like those good things I thought about Biden. She would fail even on those small issues. But anyway, yeah. So going back to the subject, yeah. When you have in your bio like free Gaza, right? And then the whole center of your protest was that how Joe Biden was so big, bad, and evil. But then Kamala Harris swears up and down, and every opportunity when she's given, and she's been given plenty of them, that she will do exactly the same thing. Well, then yeah, it does seem like your allyship, was imaginary, right? Now you can say that you had other concerns, right? Okay, that's fine, right? If those things are going to be your focus, great. But like, it also, but let's not pretend that you are doing anything for the movement. That you don't try to virtue signal with your bio when you're not going to back it up at all.
All right, so let me just ask you one simple question.
For sure.
Can you want Gaza to be free and not want Trump to be president?
Yes.
In the case that you want Gaza to be free and don't want Donald Trump to be president, would you be able to endorse Kamala Harris in that scenario?
Are you asking me? My person?
Yeah, I'm asking logically. Are those tenable positions?
Like a greater a societal? Oh yeah, yes, you can.
Okay. Yeah, so then that means any person saying that you don't care and that all of your activism up to this point is moot and that you never were interested, and telling you that you don't have a right to continue to support something because you had a separate concern now just became very illogical because of the two things that you just conceded.
No, I don't think so. Like, you could say that a person can desire those things, right? But like, how is that reflected in their works, right? Now, it'd be one thing, I guess, if you're talking to an activist who has, I don't know, been part of the organizing of the Gaza protests, right? Like, if you're like the pro Gaza protests, right? Someone who's been doing something tangible, that person would have a good excuse, right? Or I don't know, excuse is not the word I want to use here, but like, you understand what I'm saying, right? Like it would make if they are making this case, well, about Kamala, they'd have more credibility. But most of these people,
but that's what we're referring to. But I'm talking about like activists online, people on Twitter or on TikTok who have been like vocal advocates that like were speaking out about the issue. Those people then deciding to take a pro Kamala stance, like in that way. I don't think that means that they're contradicting themselves or that their support was skin deep. I don't think any of those things apply. Let Prime first, please.
Yeah.
If Kamala is promising to do the exact same thing that Joe Biden is, right? And then you get
one more thing, because I feel like I already understand what we're about to do. We're about to get stuck on compound logic, and it's really, really difficult for people. I'm saying here are two different factors that matter. I want Palestine to be free. I don't want Trump to be president. These two things both matter to me. So that might lead me to endorse Kamala for president, and while simultaneously wanting Palestine to be free, because both of these things matter to me. And it feels like you're going to continue to focus on just the individual of Palestine while some people might not want Trump to be free. And if a person has been pro-Palestine up to this point, but decides they don't want a Trump presidency, I would say that those two things together might end up, as you already agreed, in a Trump president, or in a Kamala endorsement, and it doesn't invalidate or negate any of the previous mentioned support thus far. That's what I'm saying. Those two things. And it feels like every time we're going to engage, you're going to just focus on one of the two things while ignoring that they have a right to not want Trump president.
I didn't. Now, of course, everyone has a right to not. The reason why I would be focusing on that, because that's the focus of the conversation, right?
The focus of the conversation is both.
Hold on. You don't have to tell me what the focus of the conversation is, right? Like, so, the conflict is around like what will Kamala Harris do, right? It's not simply in relation. It's not simply in relation to Trump, right? Like Kamala Harris is an agent within this, right? It's not that she's some sort of totem, right? An anti-Trump totem. She, as a person,
she is
with age. Oh, Okay.
She's both of those
Sure.
things, right?
Okay,
Like she's literally she's
an
the
agency.
antithesis to Trump because if
She's
she
not
gets
the
elected, Trump
antithesis to
doesn't.
Trump. She's
I'm sorry.
not the antithesis to Trump.
I'm sorry. She's the anathema to Trump. If she gets elected, Trump doesn't get elected. So it's that simple. You have a choice. It's a binary, and she's the only other. She's the only counter, right? So it's either her or Trump. So then that would be if I'm anti-Trump, why I would endorse her, right? And then also you have a separate and not related thing of wanting Palestine free. So then it feels like you want to prioritize only the Palestine thing in the situation and ignore all of the anti-Trump positions that plenty of black people have.
Okay. Sorry. Hold on. I want to adjust my statement here. This is where I've gone wrong. Okay, I did go wrong here. I'm going to adjust my statement. It's the endorsement part, right? When I hear endorse, like in my mind, I'm thinking vote, right? In my mind, I'm thinking just vote.
Yeah, we're talking about voting. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So you're doing the same thing. So I want to disambiguate this really quickly, right? So voting is one thing. It's just taking the action of, okay, I'm going to go to the ballot box and I'm going to, do the thing, right? I take the action. Endorsing is saying that you're signing on, you're putting your credibility to this person, saying that their actions overall you think are
better than Trump's.
Or I wouldn't. I'm not going to use those words. But you're promoting. Yeah, you're promoting this individual in a certain way. So I want to disambiguate these two things, right? Okay. So if it's like, so you had asked me those two questions previously, right? If we replace the word vote there, then I agree. If we're saying the word endorse, then I don't agree.
You think Liz Cheney? I mean, you think Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney think Kamala Harris is a perfect candidate that like matches all of their views, or do you think that they?
Hold on, I didn't say that. I don't put that words in my mouth. I didn't say that perfect candidate.
No,
I know
I'm asking you. That's what I'm saying.
No, don't. You don't need to ask because I just told you, right? I just said, hey, in most
an endorsement means you're latching on to all of their views.
No, I didn't. I literally didn't say that. I didn't say
most of their views.
I literally said. I said almost. I said that like you think well, I don't know exactly how people, an individual person, might like what's the percentage of views an individual person might actually agree with, right? Actually, I don't know, so I won't even say that, right? Okay. I'm saying you're promoting this individual. That's the focus of it, right? So no, I wouldn't say just even. I've endorsed candidates before, but I don't think they're perfect, right? That's no candidate's perfect. No candidate.
Or do you think that? Okay, so do you think they're better? But why did you say no to the idea of like an endorsement can be because they think they're better than the alternative? Why is that not a good enough reason to endorse?
Yeah, you're giving a false definition of endorsement. That's why.
You think it's a false definition of endorsement? They're saying
what
that
he said. What he said was a false definition of endorsement. That's why.
Oh, what Prime said.
Yes, it's a false definition of endorsement.
What do you think?
Because you don't have it isn't endorsement just literally means to promote or support.
So promote. That's what I just said, to promote.
No, no, you didn't, because you gave way more words than just. I'm sorry, you might have said that, but then you elucidated and expanded on what you meant by promotion, and then you started saying that it meant that you support all or most of their views. I can say I don't agree with any of these people's views, or most, right? Most. Imagine I don't agree with anything that this person believes in. However, I think. I don't believe in anything that person A believes in. Literally none of it. I don't like anything about person A. However, I think person B is even more dangerous than person A. So then, therefore, I endorse A. Right? That doesn't mean that I support their beliefs. It doesn't mean that I believe in anything that they're talking about. None of that. It only means that I'm saying that I specifically am valuing that person above the other person. That is not, and that would still qualify as endorsement by definition.
Okay. All right. So if you're, I'm willing to give you this much, that you can construct an endorsement, a completely empty one for an individual that you will in no way agree with anything they say, right? Now, if that's the extent of what they did, then maybe, right? But I don't, that's not my understanding. In any case, right? Like, yeah, if you're just saying everyone's just doing empty platitudes around Kamala Harris, okay, but I very much doubt that's the case. It
didn't have to be empty.
I haven't seen that. So
who said it has to be empty?
Oh,
it's just I don't want Trump.
Hold on. But you're saying that because you do this thing with the definitions, right? You're like, well, this still counts as an endorsement. I'm saying that action, that statement is so empty and devoid of meaning that, yes, sure, it might fit the literal definition. It might fit the little definition, but it's of no use to this conversation.
It's okay. Let me explain why it's very useful to this conversation, because that's the realistic view of the people who are making these positions. They're specifically saying, I don't want Donald Trump so much that I'm willing to get behind Kamala Harris, who is his opponent, only for the reason that he is the opponent, right? So that is exactly their position that you and the others are refusing to acknowledge.
That's not what I've seen.
Okay, well, I have. I've seen.
I'm gonna say there's a decent
number
number of Trump Republicans, like they aren't Democrat in any way, shape, or form, but they have such a vehement disregard for Trump that they're making active endorsements that in support of Kamala Harris.
Yeah, like I'm saying,
that's a thing. What are we talking about?
No, I didn't say it wasn't a thing. I said, okay, sure.
You said you haven't seen it.
No. I'm talking about what Bam's saying. Bam said.
Yeah, Bam is literally reiterating what I just said.
He's not reiterating what you said. Right? He hold on.
Okay,
listen,
Bam. What's the distinction?
No. Hold on. I'm going to finish talking. So that's what's going to happen. So shut up for a second. Thank you. Right? Bam just talked about the never Trump Republicans, right? Who were siding with Kamala, and that's the thing that I was responding to just now. So I'm saying that. Yes, you can have an empty endorsement, right? That fits the definition you're talking about. But that's not what I've been replying to. That's not what I've seen. The thing that I haven't seen is when we're talking about those Black creators and their interaction within this online discussion. So it seems like those individuals don't actually have been endorsing Kamala beyond, well, she's just not Trump. So there's that. And if that's the case, Joe Biden was just not Trump as well. So again,
yeah, that was literally that was. Go ahead.
If that's literally the extent of their critique, right? Is that this person is just not Trump? Then again, it seems like what they were bullshitting us before when they were pretending to give a fuck about what Joe Biden was saying previously about Gaza, right? And saying he's a bad guy. But then we have Kamala Harris, who's promising to do literally nothing different, not one thing different, right? And then their extent to adjustments. Well, then she's not Trump. Okay. Nothing's changed. Done.
Okay, so let me just make sure, because I understand the cognitive dissonance, and I understand people really, really struggle with compound logic. So again, I'm going to try to point it out to you, and I'm going to hold up two fingers, okay? This is going to be finger number one, which is on your right? Your right is, or I'll do this one. Finger number one, your left. Finger number two, your right, okay? These are going to be the two positions. Finger number one is I don't want Trump to be president. Finger number two, I want Gaza to be free. These are two different positions. Now, how does a person move in that scenario in the United States who recognizes that in the upcoming election, you have a choice between Trump and Kamala? How would they move if they wanted to promote Kamala Harris to be president because they didn't want Trump? How should they move while keeping in mind both of these things?
They shouldn't vote. They shouldn't promote Kamala. They shouldn't endorse Kamala, but they can vote for her.
Okay, so if they don't promote and endorse Kamala, right, then that means that one, right, remember, because finger number one was the idea that you don't want Trump to be presidency. And so, you don't want a Trump presidency. So now you're saying that they should not advocate or move or use their platform or their voice in order to get the outcome that they want, because the outcome that they want is not Trump presidency. So you're saying they should not move in a way that would get them that outcome because of number two. Yeah, so therefore you're denying number one because of number two. Yeah, making number two the priority, which again is denying their agency, because as an agent, as a person who has my own autonomy and has my own ambitions and my goal, I have two things that I want. I want a free Palestine, and more immediately, I do not want a Trump presidency. These are two things, and you're only going to be able to focus on, because of the cognitive deficiencies, just one, which is the Palestine situation. That's the only way you can keep moving in this conversation.
So you can just throw out insults all you want. Doesn't matter. Don't care. Trust me. These things don't bother me. Like, I'm used to you. But in any case, right? What I'm saying is that what's happening? The focus of this conversation is pulling out the hypocrisy of those people. Right? So they can do, of course, whatever they want. They are physically capable of doing all those things that you're talking about. obviously, and they have the agency to do those things. They can, right? What was happening in this conversation is that they were pointing out the hypocrisy of these individuals. That's the focus, right? So you keep trying to obfuscate with all these other things, but the point was the hypocrisy. And yes, they were being hypocritical. They weren't actually being good allies. And they were, and it was, and it made sense for these individuals to call that out. Sorry, Smooth, you want to say something?
Notice he didn't address one at all. He will never, because he can't process both.
Sorry, the Trump thing.
All you mentioned was the hypocrisy, because you're only mentioning the hypocrisy as it relates to Palestine.
Because
you're only focused on one. You can't focus on one. You're only focused on the other.
You can't, because you can't actually deal with the hypocrisy. You don't actually want to deal the actual focus. So you distract. And it's like, well, Trump exists.
In your brain.
Like no one else understands that Trump exists. That Trump is a problem. That we get that. We understand that. The people who are making the criticism understand that. The people who are defending themselves understand that. The people who are talking about it right now understand that, right? And so it's a moot point. We get that. But what we're talking about is hypocrisy. Were they actually hypocritical in their actions is what we're examining. At least what I'm examining. Maybe we're having two different conversations. And
we're having a conversation. One last thing, I swear, and I'm going to retire. One last thing and I'll retire. All right? It's this simple. And I love it. Here's a perfect analogy for you. A person says, I don't like going out in the rain. Okay? But I will go out in the rain if I have an umbrella. Also, if I'm going out in the rain, even with an umbrella, I need it to be between 60 degrees and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So there's 3 things there. If you only focus on, that's called compound logic. So then if you only look at one of these things, you're ignoring the other 2. This is how compound logic works. So if you say, hey, today it is 60 degrees and 80 degrees. You should be going outside. And it's like, well, yeah, but I don't have an umbrella. But you said it needed to be 60 and 80 degrees. It's like, yes, but it also, here's another compound, right? Why it's compound logic. So if I don't have all of these things, I'm not moving, right? And I think everyone struggles with that mentally. Legitimately, it's been a long-term thing. So what you'll find when you're having these conversations, that people try to constrain the conversation to only focus on one and label every other piece of the compound as either a hypocrisy or obfuscation or a distraction or a digression, despite the fact that these 2 things are happening concomitantly, right? Because we can't all be single-minded and simple-brained and only be single-issue voters. We can't do that. We have other things to focus about. For example, I don't have to go into any more examples. And that's what's happening in this conversation. And I'm going to rest my case there. Re-listen to the conversation and tell me which part of that is inaccurate.
Thanks so much. All right, Smooth.
Okay, so all right. So Trump already said that he was gonna go. Like, he was cool with I forget what the guy that runs Israel's name is. Going score start. Yeah, long name, whatever. Screw that guy. But anyway, he said he was cool with them going score stuff, like fully just get rid of them. All right, and then you have for black people, he's not good for us as well. So then when you turn around and you have the alternative, is you have Kamala Harris saying that she's not doing what Trump's doing, right?
Hold on, no, that's not what you said. Hold on. Let me just get through this very quickly, and we're going to start the.
So that's not what Trump said?
Sorry. We're gonna. I'm saying one thing quickly. We're gonna start the topic like right after this, because the other people, I don't know if they come in, and we have a limited amount of time. But let me address this really quickly. Hey, what will Biden say no to from Benjamin Netanyahu? What do we say no to?
He can say no. It won't matter.
No. What will Biden refuse of Benjamin Netanyahu?
I think probably lots.
Smooth.
Oh, I'm sorry, Smooth.
What will Biden say no to? Like, if Netanyahu makes a demand, right? Or says he's going to do something, what will Biden say no to?
I guess I'm going to assume one of the hard lines in the sand is nuclear weapons. That's what I'm going to assume.
Why would you assume that?
Because we have bills in place.
I'm not talking
in general. It's not a far leap in logic. Like, he's not from
why. So So
Why? Because they're bad for the environment. They
they're
literally
bad for the
irradiate
environment. Okay.
everything. Yeah, they
So
radiate everything. Like
yeah.
it's
We're
like,
understanding how nuclear weapons work. Thank you so much for
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But uh, at the start, because I've been following this the entire time, right? At the start of this, part of the case for Joe Biden and against Trump, right, by like standard issue shit-eating liberals, is that well, Biden will keep this from spinning out of control, right? Biden, he's an ally of Israel, certainly. He never stops saying it, right? He's discussing in that way. But he is supporting this white supremacist project. But he is going to keep a lid on this, right?
For sure.
And at some point, it's going to start. And so the people were putting limits on this. Well, yes, Biden will have this drafted by the spring, right? Biden will have this drafted by summer, right? I mean, he's been talking about the ceasefire negotiations, right? And he's been saying that the entire time. Or, well, not the entire time, because he wouldn't say ceasefire at the start. But in any case, right? Biden is making progress when he's even been saying himself there's no progress being made, right? And then it became, well, Biden's going to keep this from becoming a larger like regional war, setting the region on fire, right? It's just going to be contained here between Israel and Gaza. Well, now Israel's attacked 5 other regions within the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
Attacked Lebanon, attacked Iran, attacked Syria, and attacked the UN in Lebanon. Attacked somewhere else too. The Yemen, right? And I feel like I'm missing something, but I'll have to think about that. So they've done all of that, right? And now we are waiting patiently for Iran to strike, like to send because before that strike in Tehran was like a bomb they set off, right? Imagine them doing that in the U.S., setting off a bomb there, and there's no response. But okay, so they are going to send in missile strikes against Iran. They're going to amp up this war. They've amped it up in Lebanon, like they amped it up in the West Bank, like they've done all those things. And no point has Biden said no, right? But everyone imagines, right? Just like they did previously with when Biden was going to end this, they imagine, well, at some point, right? At 4,000 deaths, at 10,000 deaths, at 20,000 deaths, at some point it's going to stop. But what would stop them from doing 1 million? At what point? What indication we would have at like 1 million dead Palestinians that things will be different? Where's that indication?
Okay, so you looped all that together.
So I said a lot. I did say a lot.
What I wanted to talk about, but fine. Let's fine. I'll entertain this. One, Biden does not have autonomy. Like he doesn't have rule over this. Like he doesn't not autonomy. I said the wrong word.
No. I know what you meant. And I still laugh at what the thing you actually meant. I know. I completely laugh at that.
He doesn't. Okay. So look, he doesn't have that over Israel to where he can stop Israel from doing whatever they want to do. Okay, they're gonna do whatever it is.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on. No, you literally
Smooth. Shut up. Hold on. Smooth.
Something I didn't even want to
Smooth. I just want to speed up because again, we got to get to the other the topic because we don't have much time. So I just speed this part up. You're saying he doesn't have power. Okay, I'm gonna go with your logic. Okay, you're saying he doesn't have power to actually change what they do, right? All right. Okay. So then you didn't
even let me finish.
I know, oh my god, because Smooth. I've talked about this many times of many people who know a lot more about this than you. I know exactly what you're about to say. So I'm trying to speed this part up, right, to get us past this, okay? Right? So hold on. Yes, he doesn't have power. You're saying. Okay, hold on. Let me say, is this incorrect?
Hold
on. Is this incorrect? Hold on. Is this incorrect?
I was going to go somewhere else.
No, you weren't. This is exactly what I was about to say.
Hold on. But it's okay.
Oh, you
it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Hold on. No, don't. We'll just move on. No, we'll just move on. Okay, whatever. But it's fine. It's whatever. We'll just move on. And start the topic. All right? Fine. All right. Thanks all for being here. This is All Black Everything Roundtable, which we have at 8 p.m. Eastern. We are got a great group of guests here, and we're gonna get started quickly because unfortunately pretty much everyone's got to leave not too long from now, so we gotta jump into the topic. But thank you for being here. I'm just gonna do some quick introductions. Thank you for being here, Fanatic. Much appreciated. It's always a pleasure to have you, friend.
Yep. I'm glad to be here. Let's get to it.
Okay. Next we have our friend Water Kai. Thanks for coming through, buddy.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bam is here. And, Bam, one of our regular guests.
Yeah. Good conversation. I have actually something to show y'all in a minute, but happy to be here. That's it.
Yeah. Smooth. Thank you as well. Nice to see you, friend.
Hi.
Hi. And last but not least, person we see like the least here, Solus, who I send him invites, just so you guys know. I send him invites every week. And I like that he responds to me every week. But usually he's like, no, fuck off. But
That's crazy. This is crazy.
But thank you for being here, Solus.
I love being here, Prime. I have nothing but love for you. For I be having shit to do, and if I be on this motherfucker till 11 o'clock at night, I wake up like super late for work. I be trying to be responsible. I want to kick it with y'all, but I be having shit to do.
No, I hear you. I appreciate you coming on at all. I appreciate that from all of you. So let's get started. Topic. As society progresses, much of what we believe to be moral changes. The sea change in our treatment of the LGBT community being a classic example. But many people seemingly refuse to change. Some for reasons related to religion, and others just find the gay community to be deserving of derision and scorn. Is it worth trying to change those people's minds? Should effort be put in to try to change their ways? If not, how can we determine if someone is hopeless without even trying? Or does society only advance when we try to reach the hearts of and minds of everyone, even the most hateful of us? I should have checked that a little bit better. Anyway, but credit to my man Bam. It was because of something he had mentioned to me previously that got this topic started. So, but yeah, our society, we kind of evolve. Some say for the better, some say for the worse, but our understanding of how we relate to each other changes. And so in terms of the LGBT community, we no longer, I don't know if they can get married, they have much more rights and recognitions. And yeah, like and how society just treats them on a whole is entirely different from what it was previously, right? Where people can be proud and like have their relationships out in the open. But obviously not everyone joins on these has joined on that bandwagon. So people are quite recalcitrant. And basically what we're asking here is, should effort be put into changing those types of minds? And at what point do you give up? All right. Let's start with our let's start with Bam, because it was his yeah, you sorry, I'm right.
For sure. Yeah. So the thing that brought this up was I seen a video making criticisms of Lil Boosie and he's got a long line of homophobia. I mean, at least since he's been out of prison, basically related. Whether you're talking about with his daughter who is gay, he had some issues with Lil Nas X. He had some issues with other things, and people were like, "Wow, like it was a group like this of people with degrees from these ivory towers who are trying to like use these words and logic and think they were gonna like hold Boosie accountable, or we're gonna talk about like the toxic elements." And I'm like, Boosie is described as an archetype of a person. Boosie is a rapper from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who dropped out of high school at the age of 16, who did a prison murder bit. Like you're not, he didn't logic his way into this position, and you're not gonna logic his way out of it. You're not gonna tell him what Kimberly Crenshaw said. You're not gonna tell him, how insert, person here. And that's gonna be like, wow, that makes sense, and move his position on this issue or any other issue. And I think the best thing you can do with those types of people, if you don't agree with them, is to just not engage with their music. But being from Louisiana, Boosie actually has, I wouldn't say a following as in fans, but he definitely gets music played by in gay communities, gay and queer communities in Louisiana, and maybe that's because they're raised different, or they just have a different relationship with it. But yeah, I think that when I speak of him, when I think of people to listen to his music, when I think of like a lot of older generations, like the members of the silent generation, and even some of the baby boomers who are still around, like I think we call things out whenever they're inappropriate, and we'll call things out when they're like truly hateful. But some people have an expectation that like these types of generations of people are ever going to like or be accepting of queer people, and I just don't think that's where your fight should be. It doesn't seem useful. It doesn't seem like a useful use of your time. It seems like it stirs up anger that honestly has negative long-term effects for the movement, in my opinion.
Thanks so much, Fanatic.
Yeah, it's a kind of a weird question. Ultimately, I feel like people are going to have their views, and I think you have to approach people at the level that they're at. Yeah, you're probably not going to approach Boosie in the conversation with like academia-based talking points, but that doesn't mean that he's like unreachable. It just means that the way that you communicate with him, you change. I modify my communication all the freaking time when I'm talking to various people. I know not to use compound logic with certain people, so you just gotta, modify it. That's it.
I love you too, buddy.
I'm such an N-word.
I think that's it.
Oh, was that it?
That was it?
All right,
Yeah.
Solus. Oh, you just ended it with an insult. All right, that's okay. Thank you, Solus.
I personally don't feel that. That me? Am I echoing?
It's probably DQ.
Is that me echoing?
No, it's not you. Keep going.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't know. It's great if most people can be very accepting of other groups of people. That's fine and dandy, but I think that's a bit too idealistic. I think you should always advocate for people to be respectful of other people, and I think that's what most minority groups really ask for. Acceptance is usually a bridge too far. Like, we don't have to get along. We don't have to be brothers and sisters, like locked arm and sync. We just need respect. I think that's what most people ought to advocate for, and I think that that's something you can get out of people. Even in the case of somebody like Lil Boosie, like I don't think Lil Boosie would walk up on the street and punch a gay person in the face. He'd probably say something like, "I don't want gay people in my house," which, even if you think that's bigoted and fucked up, that to me is fine. Like, if you say you don't want a group of people around you as an individual, even if I disagree with you, cool, right? As long as you are willing to let those people live their lives without trying to interject and fuck with them directly. I mean, that's the best you can ask for, unless you're trying to like force people to accept groups of people, which, I mean, you're towing a fucked up line there.
Okay. Smith, please.
Okay. Look, Boosie does have fans. I guess from his point of view, like there's no changing his mind. All you can do is just ask him to treat people well. And I think that at the end of the day, that's all you can really ask of people. I don't think you can force anyone to get to a place where they agree with your lifestyle. I don't think that's gonna ever happen. I think you're just gonna have people that tolerate you. And I think that's really all you can really ask for.
Thank you. Let's go to What Guy.
It's kind of the problem. We live in a country that at this point has 18 to 20 states where you can be evicted for being homosexual. If your landlord finds out that you're homosexual, you can lose your home. So for people like that, or for any situation in which you can actually be affected, tolerance isn't really going to be the main thing you're looking for. You're looking for people to abide by the laws and change the laws so that people aren't being discriminated against, because that's the biggest issue, is the discrimination, your loss of ability to make money, have a place to live, just be a person. So when it comes down to people like Boosie, as long as he doesn't do anything horrible to any other individual, anybody that doesn't agree with his takes or his views can just stop listening to his music and request that other people don't play his music around you, or speak out against him. when it comes down to changing language, I don't think that actually fixes it either. Because when you have things like the Southern strategy that came down, where they acknowledge you can't say the N word because that's going to hurt you, so you start getting abstract with your language and say things like forced busing, states' rights, and things like that. It's still getting the same problem across. So just changing language is just making it more ethereal, but still terrible. So I would think if these people actually have any real power in government or in states, they need to be held to task. Otherwise, let them be bigoted and ostracized from society accordingly.
Thank you. And DQ, thanks for being here. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in quite a bit, actually. But yeah, introduce yourself and your opening statement.
I'm the debate queen, and as a queer person, I don't know anyone else here who identifies here as a queer person. I think that it's one of those things that it is a societal change. No one should be able to be going around saying the F word. No one goes around saying other words to you, like, like the N word. Think about it. It's like pretty much like the same equivalent in some form or fashion, right? And think about that. Essentially, you should just be able to let people live their lives the way that they want to. I don't know whoever the rapper that y'all are talking about, but essentially, he should be ostracized from the community, and just kind of like, yeah, that's just like some backwards thinking, like, like you don't know whoever is queer or not. You don't know however like people live their lives, Some people may be more outwardly, um, maybe more outwardly, queer, and more people more be inwardly queer. You just don't know how people live their lives, and you should just essentially just accept people for who they are.
This
So
nigga's
just
killed people.
just quickly,
Wait,
because
what?
very quickly, for what DQ just said, right? DQ doesn't know who Boosie is. I don't know
Yeah,
who this person
Boosie,
is.
man.
Never met him. Well, obviously never met him, but never heard of him. Never heard of his music. So I don't know anything about this guy either. But let's instead focus on this archetype, right? That's why I didn't mention him in the prompt.
Yeah.
Like this type of person. Let's describe that, and let's work there so other people can be a part of the conversation as well. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just saying, like, I don't think you used anything, Ivory, like any like academic terms, DQ, when you were describing like the idea of like, oh, we should just try to love and be accepting. Like, I think on paper, a lot of people would agree with that. They would say like, yeah, I love it. I want to be a loving person. I love everybody. I don't want to be hateful or rude. Blah blah blah. Respect, insert here thing there. But there's history, there's religion, there's like societal norms that put a lot of people that move a lot of people into a place where certain type of things like pull some reaction out of them. I don't get it. I think it's dumb, but I know people. I have friends. Actually, I'm not even gonna. I'll own it. I have friends who, if they see flamboyant gay man, like two flamboyant gay men walking down the street, they get angry. Like they don't say anything to them, but like I can see their face like scrunch up. Like why are they doing that? And I can tell it is not something they're faking. Like it is like it's an actual reaction they're having based on decades of indoctrination. Like I said, you don't have to like it, but I don't know if there's value in having that fight.
I mean, like,
to get them to accept, like the fight of acceptance or the fight of just like leaving people the fuck alone.
Yeah, no, the acceptance. Yeah, I think the leaving
yeah.
people alone. Yeah, I don't know if there's value in. Like I said, they don't say anything. They just feel like.
Yeah, like why is that anger there? Like that anger is misplaced. Like completely.
I don't disagree.
Do you?
Like, okay, why aren't you more masculine? Like, why aren't you more masculine? Why aren't you like with a woman more masculine? And maybe that's something that's more inward with themselves and like.
That's always people go to. They always think like, oh, you hate gay people because you're
That
gay.
doesn't
That's not
make
always
you,
true.
that doesn't make you not masculine because you
have this strong hatred towards seeing flamboyant gay people, but it does make you a bit like something's off with you, like internally. Like I wouldn't say like you're not masculine or something of that manner, but you definitely have some problems. Like
As
I don't know what it is where
Possibly.
Nah,
as
it's
mu-
probably just
as
like
much
an
as
inability. I was like, go ahead, Kai.
as much as I hate to take this line with it, people had that same sentiment toward black people in America,
oh my god.
like throughout most of early America, where they would just see black people be viscerally angry and have a problem.
Early
There's
America?
nothing wrong with black. I mean, still to this day, but it was much more prevalent. Like you couldn't even go sit down at a counter at a restaurant without people giving you dirty looks and having a problem.
I'm
So
sure post integration. I'm sure that was I agree. I could accept that.
So this is
About
my problem. This feels a lot like what do you call it? Oppression appropriation. What gay people have gone through in this country is nowhere near what American Africans have gone through.
I
Like
wasn't
I
trying to
just
allude
I
to
knew
that. That's
you
why
were
I
gonna
said I
say
hate to
that.
I
take
mean,
it.
I
I
know, but then
100%
it's
knew that was going to say that. Go
yeah, of
ahead.
course, because I just don't understand why the freak we do that. Like one person makes the statement, it's basically the same as the N word, and then another person is like, they use these same lines against niggas, and it's just we always do this oppression appropriation. First off, no, you cannot evict any gay people because you discover that they're gay in this country because there are federal protections against that. There are federal anti-discrimination laws. So if you were to do something like that, you would get bodied by the federal government. You cannot do that because
There's
our
18
civil
states
rights.
you can do this.
No, listen. If it's a federal law, it doesn't matter if they never updated any states to allow you to do that. Federally, you will get convicted for that, right? Like you can't legally discriminate against people based off of their sexual orientation in the United States. That just can't be done to this day because when we fought for Civil Rights Act, and you look at the Civil Rights Act of 1964-68, they made all of those things clear, and then Obama expanded it like crazy. So the fact is, you cannot just instantly discriminate against people. That's not a thing. That doesn't work that way.
No, you can't outwardly do it. Like you can't you can't literally be like, you're gay, get out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
Now,
that's the
if
Fair
you
Housing Clause or Fair Housing Act.
right, and then there was another thing that Obama also like added to it. So the fact of the matter, well, actually Trump undid one of those things though, but it was crazy. So my point being, you can't just discriminate against people like that. They're not going through the exact same thing that we went through. They're not going through anything even remotely close. Anything remotely close. First off, they have a closet to hide in, right? We don't have that, right? My skin is black. I can't hide that. So the officer's going to see I'm a nigga regardless. Doesn't matter how well spoken I am. It doesn't matter how unassuming I am. It doesn't matter how unthreatening I am. Them niggas still see danger, right? That's just the way racists in America see things. So yeah, I really do hate the oppression appropriation.
No, because there are very men who have to like essentially code switch between oh I have to be very
Switch
I
it up.
can't really myself and to be oh I have to be very masculine in front of this man because they are seeming very masculine. So I also have to appropriate that masculinity. Now we're not saying that it is the same as blackness, right? Now I just equated the words, the impact of what the words mean between saying the N word and saying the F word.
That's still crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And that's crazy.
That's
That right there,
crazy.
the word.
No.
What did the N word? What was the impact of the N word on the average American African? And like when we talk about codification and laws and literal lynchings and literal housing discrimination for decades and the ongoing Jim Crow and black codes and mass incarceration, all of these things that all that stem from this word, and you're talking about, oh well, they just called them the F slur. Like, what the freak are we talking about? This is the oppression appropriation I'm talking about, and you niggas can't help it.
So,
I don't even
and
want to begin to act like it's equal. It is in no way equal, but discrimination.
She's
is
acting like it is.
I wouldn't even begin to.
I think the
But
conversation
that's
is not going
reductive.
to a place-
To
unnecessary place.
just say discrimination is discrimination
Sure.
is reductive as hell because the impacts, the effects, the extremities of that
Right.
discrimination are vastly different.
Everything that I'm trying to say.
DQ, go ahead, finish your point. Then I want to get to Smooth because the other guy had a chance to speak, and then we'll go to Bam. Right?
Listen, you act like the F word wasn't not being saying by other black people for decades. At the same time, the N word was being said in our very community. I can tell you that my grandmother definitely said the F word to her gay brother. Like that has this
So-
impact right? Like you act like I'm just talking about within our community. I ain't talking about the broader like white community. I'm just talking about the F word and the N word within our own community. Now you act like it doesn't have the same impact,
It
right? It
It
definitely
doesn't.
does.
It
Definitely,
doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't.
def-
It literally
I'm not
doesn't.
even
I'm
arguing that
sorry.
with you.
I'm
It's
sorry.
really.
It just
I'm sorry.
doesn't.
Go ahead.
So
It's smooth. Turn my back. Go.
because all y'all are not black gay men. There are no black gay men on this panel to come on here and to understand and
so
to give you the critique of
I
what it is
Well,
to
now we're
be a
gonna get
so I'm
cry
gonna
bullied.
I'm
Oh
so
my
look so no
god.
no so look let me do this for you. So look,
Let that
here's
nigga
the
cook,
thing.
folk.
Here's the thing with the F word, right? The F word can also be applied to white gay men. It can also be applied to Hispanic gay men. It goes very broadly, and when you say it, there it doesn't have like immediate. There was no immediate impact because you could say that to a gay white man and it not do anything to his life whatsoever. Like it's just a word. You're just
I,
saying something. It's not
I
actually. It's not actually. Hold on. It's not actually going to demean him to the same stature as using the N word. The N word, like literally, it literally they put it in book. I don't even know how to start to even get you to understand
Well,
how different that is
w-
to
Yeah,
where you were literally written. It was literally written down that you right here with did not have rights. It literally wrote in word. This is you. These are your non rights that you don't have. Like
yeah.
Let's go to
versus the
Bam
F
and
I,
then
word. The F word
Solus.
wasn't in law. Like it's just not. That's just one stage of it.
Bam, then
Yeah,
Solus.
about to say, so I don't care about any of this. I think when the comparison,
Oh,
like when
thank
you get
God.
into the comparison of it, that feels I don't know dumb. And now we're playing a weird game. It's not part of the conversation. I think one of the unique experiences that queer people go through is the rejection from the people you love most. Which and I'm not saying that's better or worse. I'm saying that like I don't think we have to minimize it or say it's nothing. Like if you're black,
No
you
one
go
said
out
it's
into the
nothing.
white. Of course, I know I'm just having my time to speak right now. So I'm just saying that when you're black, we can go out into the world and we see all the laws on the books and all these types of conversations, and then hopefully you could come home to your own community and at least in your household be seen as a human being or be seen as a whole man or woman. Versus like you can being queer sometimes when it comes out to your mother, your father, your siblings, people whose opinions you do value and people you do hold dear, sometimes can reject you in some of the worst ways possible. So I just don't feel like it's valuable playing that game on better or worse. What I'm about to say, getting back to the topic, what I do find relevant is the idea of like what happens when people do how do we treat people who do these things after the fact. Now, for the queer individual, who involved with, I think they can set their relationships as they choose. If you feel like your parents harmed you and you don't want to deal with them, be around them anymore, who am I to judge that dynamic? Um, but when but as far as the rest of society goes, how how are we holding them accountable? Again, this isn't about Boosie. This is just dealing with the archetype of like one of the aspects that we're coming up was the fact that he rejected his daughter, who is a stud, which is a masculine gay woman,
Lesbian, yeah. Huh?
lesbian. Yeah. He rejected her coming around his other children because he didn't want her
He
gay
said she
to.
can't come around with her girlfriend. She can always come home. That's his baby.
Yeah, basically, well, she can come home. She just can't be
Meet with her
presently
girlfriend.
gay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that,
around it because he doesn't want it to like rub off or influence the other kids. And I think the question becomes that, like, is that abuse? No, but how should we as a society deal with the parent who's
How is that not
choosing to reject it?
abuse?
How is it
I don't think
abuse?
it would be.
It's
Explain. No,
mental
explain to me.
abuse.
Okay, explain how it is
How
abuse.
sh-
Go ahead and break that down.
So if I can't bring my significant other around my family, is that not abusive and telling me that I can't be around my family unless I act the way they want me to act?
How are you defining
That's
abuse
mentally
here?
abusive.
How are you defining abuse here?
Any action that would cause mental harm or distress to you.
I don't know. You
Okay.
can't bring drugs
So-
in my house either. But
Right.
like,
And so what if I'm an addict and I want to bring drugs in your house? All of a sudden I can't have boundaries anymore? What are we talking about?
The
So-
worst. Like,
If this were an instance where it were particularly one thing, like if nobody else could bring their significant other into the home, that's, I guess, a boundary that they're setting. But it's specifically because you were gay.
yeah,
Right.
that's the conversation.
But it's still a boundary. But it's a boundary. It'd be like, for example, if I don't know, my daughter decided she was gonna date some thug crackhead nigga and wanted to bring him to the house for Thanksgiving, and I'd be like, oh yeah, no, that nigga can't come. But then maybe my other daughter married a well-to-do American person of the lineage, you know what I mean? Then I might feel like, okay, no, it's totally fine. And then maybe I have somebody else who married a white person and who's also a crackhead or something, and I might be like, no, you can't come.
And that would be based on
Had to throw that white
actions.
person in there. Had to get it.
That would be based on that person's actions, not based on them just being who they are.
Yeah, but gay is an action. It's a choice.
It absolutely is not a choice.
Oh, okay.
You spent it again?
Okay.
Well, we're still waiting for that gay gene. We're still waiting for that gay gene to be found. We're still waiting for that.
Let's let in
Well, hold on.
Solus.
I was gonna say, wait, no, two things. Y'all get back to the bloodbath y'all about to have. I see it brewing, but I would say I think this conversation. I think every black person that has these conversations has had many a time, and I think the difference that I've always pointed out with my black gay friends and just people in general, the fight for blackness is a fight for humanity, right? You are different. You are like this other version of a human being. Your fight as a black person is to prove to people that no, I am not some fucking
Animal.
crime-prone monkey. I'm a human being just like you. I happen to be a different shade. And the fight for gayness is that people ought to accept your sexuality and shouldn't harm you for it, right? And don't get me wrong, that's fucked up. But I was about to say, fanatic, I'd trade. I wish we could have a fucking racial. I'd trade. We can swap problems. If you want to fight to be considered a fucking human being by people, by all means, bro. We can swap that shit out. But secondly, to Ben's point, as far as how people should treat people that feel that way, if you want to tell, because it's like, I wouldn't tell you, hey, you need to you have to overlook that this person is homophobic. That's your honest to God right to do so. If you say, fuck this person, they don't like gay people, I don't like them, I would tell you that, do you, right? You have your right to curate your circle, your family, your friends, and your tribe, how you so choose. But I also would say that person that doesn't like gay people, I don't see any point in, I'm not gonna like press them about that if that's what you feel, and especially if you feel it in a way that you're not going to actually do anything about it, you're about a bit pussy about it. I see no reason to do anything to them. Like, if that's just what they feel, and they feel that in the corner by themselves in their little circle in their tribe, fuck it, like, let them be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I added on to the fact of like there are people that is infecting. Like, if it's not just a belief, they have like gay children, or you have like a gay cousin that you see like, oh, they like, maybe they're not, like I said, I don't think they're abusive, but you can tell they're like
that's my place to
treating
say,
them
like,
in a
if you
discriminatory way.
I don't know that it's my place to ostracize you or treat you some other way because how you treat your kids. Now, I might based on my own personal moral code, but just doing that is not something that is inherently going to make me look at you a certain way. There are some people I know that don't talk to their children that I agree with them not talking to their children. Now, granted, it's not because they're gay, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, they're affecting their kids, but that still falls under that category where I'm like, if that's what the fuck you do, I might not fuck with it, and I might not fuck with you, but I don't see any point in like coming at you sideways for your interaction with your children, other than me saying I am going to refrain from adding you to my tribe and adding you to my circle of people.
If you reject your child simply because your child is gay, I think that you're a bad person. And I think if you decided that you were going to abuse your child simply because your child is gay, I think you're a bad person. And I'm going to look at you differently. Because I value people based off of their actions, based off of their morality. And if you're showing me you're an immoral person, I'm going to look at you different. And you're immoral if you're abusing your kid simply because of their sexuality.
No, yeah, certainly. What is I get looking at them different because I would do that too. But beyond that, like, what are we really about to?
Oh yeah, don't come around me. Don't talk to me. I have no respect for you. Don't interrupt. Yeah. Don't interact with me. You're a disgusting person. Don't be involved in me. And if I can find ways of sabotaging your progress, I'm probably going to do that too, because you're a disgusting person. I don't believe in abuse, and I don't believe that you should be abusing children of all things, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's abuse to tell your adult child, I don't want you bringing your partner around your siblings. I don't think that's the same thing, and not even close. Now, I don't know that I would necessarily do things that way, but I do think that there's a very big difference when we start talking about abuse, right? Where we're like actively harming someone, right? I think those things are very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think we overuse, like, I think it's a cultural thing where we like overuse certain words. Like, it shouldn't be called abuse. Like, we should find another word for it so abuse can stay what it should be. and be reserved for those instances where someone is actually abused. I think, however, to be on topic though, I think that the problem a lot of people have with uh, homosexuality or the LGBTQ movement in general is the hypersexuality of it all. Like it's like overly like in your face. Like if it was just no, they purposely do it. That's why I sent the video that I did in the chat. It was only 5 minutes. And basically, it was a lesbian saying, like, yo, you guys, you don't have to do this parade where you're whipping on each other in public or showing, like, she's like, who is this for? Like, it's more performative than anything else. That's what she was saying during the whole 5 minute video. She was going through different instances of her own community. And she's like, can we not just exist and then be with our person? You know what I'm saying? Because she's like, that's what I want to do. She's like, I just want to love my person and be free to love my person and have people accept me for loving my person. And I'm like, that I don't think what she asked for in the video was a tall ask, but I think her stance against the community and like pride parades and different things of that nature and how they're conducted in this particular instance and how they are conducted now is valid. It's valid. That shouldn't be done. Like you shouldn't be see people in dominatrix outfits, you know what I'm saying, whipping the other person, you know what I'm saying? They're bound like out in public in front of like people, because if it was done the other way around, you know what I'm saying? Like whether it was heterosexual or not, or homosexual, like you wouldn't want that in front of your children. Like I wouldn't take my kids there. Whether if it was a man whipping a woman or a woman whipping a man, like or vice versa, or whatever. Like I didn't want that in front of my kids. I don't think that's
if I'm not
crazy.
mistaken, didn't they parse that? I don't keep up with all the LGBTQ patch updates, but last time I checked, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they parse that out where like there's a pride after hours? Because that was the thing that a lot of gay people were also
I think
mad
it depends
about.
on the city.
Oh,
Yeah, but yeah,
I
the kink and
guess.
pride discourse was a thing. Like that was like 2 chapters ago.
Yeah.
They was dealing with the idea of like I think there is some connection between like the queer community and then just like sexual liberation movements
Yeah.
generally. Like I think they like it would be lying to say there's no connection between the two or no historical like relation between the two. But I do acknowledge that like yeah, I think that like pride parades or like pride movements should be more inclusive, and by inclusive I mean like child focused, like children should be able to be there because they're the ones who are in the environments, you know, like they go home to their parents, so they're the people who probably need it more than adults. Like once you're an adult and you're moved out, you know, you go get therapy for that, you don't for a lot of your traumas. And then I think the second thing with that is outside of children is you want straight people who may not be homophobic but do have some thoughts or concerns to be able to show up for their queer friends or for their queer children and not see something that's gonna like change their whole, like, you know, this is gonna put on a proper show. Look for it. You don't want to like, oh, you know, like my daughter's gay, like I guess, you know, I don't know how I feel about it, but she says she wants to go to this pride parade, and then you show up and then there's like a naked man in a puppy mask, and you're like, yeah, this is degenerate, this isn't of God. Like it's just gonna like take you down that rabbit hole.
The puppy
Yep,
mask.
down that
is
truth.
fine.
Difficult time
Let's go
actually,
to-
like-
let's go to sorry, finish your point and then we'll go to DQ.
I was gonna say, I think people have an actual difficult time normalizing things because people don't realize that, like, when something is normal, it is it's not noteworthy. Like, it's supposed to be something that you hear, receive, and it's a meh response, right? When you have somebody's sexuality, what I think happens with a lot of gay activism is that inherently we're talking about who someone likes to sleep with, love, and do all that, right? That they have been rejected from expressing publicly in a manner where they get no backlash. That's fucked up. Cool. But there's this like overcorrection where I don't think that we need to see, examine, or even think about the actual act of what you're doing, but rather just normalize and respect that you're doing it on your own. But I think people, there's like this, if this was a fucking like scale, we're all the way over here because it seems that for a long time we were all the way over here. And instead of being normalizing, right, of like, yeah, some people are gay and some people are this or that, and that's fine. It's more so like, no, you need to know that this is what a dominatrix outfit looks like, and you need to be like, nah, that's unnecessary for anybody. No one needs to engage with shit like that. You don't need to know the nitty gritty. You just need to know and accept and leave that at that.
Go ahead, DQ.
There's a reason for it, but go ahead, DQ.
I'd actually like to
examine.
examine that reason in a second, actually. But DQ, please.
Yep.
honestly am not scared of children like seeing sex. I'm more scared of children seeing violence.
That's a crazy
Honestly.
statement.
So
Like,
wild.
honestly, just see violence. Because violence is honestly something that like will fuck with your mind. Like sex doesn't necessarily fuck with your mind. Okay, cool. Like people go and have sex. Some people have loving relationships. People have consensual relationships, and that's fine. Whether that is straight or it is gay, it doesn't matter.
I am gonna
It's
try to shoot you as much
that
bail as possible before this nigga fanatic goes off the wall. Are you talking about an educational sense? Are you talking about like it's okay for kids to be engaging with the idea of intercourse in a like healthy educational manner?
this is all of this is a lesson in what is a healthy consensual relationship.
I tried.
No,
And
no,
it's
Uh,
we call BS when people
there's
say that.
no
I
way.
tried.
So no. No. You're talking about no. So look. Hi, I'm a California resident. Like, look, I've seen one of these parades, right? The dude was literally grabbing the other dude and dry humping him in front of everybody. I'm like, why does a child need to see that? No,
it's
you can't make a world where that's normal. No, that shouldn't be done. Like if you want to hold hands with your male, with your significant other that's the same sex as you, cool. You want to kiss them, fine. Well, you're talking about forcefully dry humping him. I seen the chat said, "Oh, you'll see this on the beach." You seen somebody get whipped on the beach? Seriously?
You haven't been
That
to
sounds
my
like a drink.
beaches, to be
Seriously?
fair. Like, so put that out there. But okay.
I don't know. I lived in Long Beach for a long time. I've seen plenty of pride parades. I've never seen the things you're talking about. I've seen hypersexualization in both directions. It's never been at one of those out in the open things. Is usually like in a bar or something where there aren't children around. I have not seen what you're talking about.
I like what Fanatic had or other people have been implying. A few people are talking about how and we're actually moving away from like the crux of this, right? But we still have a little bit of time, so I'll allow it for a little bit before we recenter ourselves. But the um the connection between the LGBT community and kink, right? It seems to me, and I imagine other people might have other thoughts on this. But it seems to me that the connection there is that these are marginalized people been pushed out of their spaces and then pushed out of this communal spaces. I mean, pushed out of these spaces based around the idea of their sexual activity. And how they form their families, right? And since they were pushed out of the mainstream, they decided to create their own families, right? Like that's a big thing, right? Is for so many of these people who the mother and fathers don't want to listen to be involved with them. They found people who they relate to, and then that becomes their new thing. And they have, and the gay community has done a lot to try to bring acceptance to new forms of family, right? But also once they're pushed out because of their sexuality, you also are more exposed to, I guess, alternative routes, right? And you're more open to that because you're the thing that you're attracted to is looked at as disgusting or derisive, right? And so if you don't feel that way about yourself, you're like, okay, loving a man is fine, right? Then I think maybe you'd be more open to these other communities, right? These other kink communities. That's my thinking. That's how these things are related. But other people might feel differently.
Yeah, so I wanted to say that there is a reason for the like crazy over hypersexualization when it comes to same-sex relationships and just same-sex demonstrations and same-sex pride. I believe, and I think most people here would probably agree, that there is a natural sort of repugnance towards same-sex things. We tend, because just the natural human brain, we tend to normalize and accept things that are more like us, that make sense, the way that we're used to. And so I would say that given that this is going to be something that's an outlier, then I think, yeah, it makes all the sense in the world why some of them would feel like, why they would need to go above and beyond in order to push back against some of, just what's going to be naturally people kind of just like taken aback and, recoiling at the thought. And I think even all the dudes here would tell you, if you were to sit there and you saw two women kissing, it's like, okay, it's a thing, whatever. If you see two dudes kissing, it makes you physically cringe. And it's not because, oh, I hate you or anything like that. It's just something that's abnormal. It's something that's just not the norm that you haven't seen. So I believe that there is an intentional like normalization process in which they're intentionally exposing as many people to this type of behavior on a regular basis, so as to make it so that we can get rid of that natural repulsion.
But like desensitizing.
Yes, that's exactly the intention. And I think that's the same thing with like drag queen story hour and all those other things. And then lastly, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I had another one, but I lost it already. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't mean
No, you good.
No, I think that Fanatic, you should only speak for yourself and stop speaking for other people because shit ain't cool. But like, if other guys feel like that, then they should be able to speak like that. But like, if you should only be speaking for yourself instead of stop speaking for other people, like when you spoke for me, like that shit ain't
When
cool.
did I speak for you? When did I speak for you? What are you talking about?
Just saying
You're just
earlier.
making stuff up. What did I say? When did I speak for you earlier? What are you talking about?
And she and whatever. I'm just saying earlier.
Right, earlier. How did I speak for you?
What-
Instead of just making something up, how did I speak for you earlier?
You said and she, which is meaning that you were speaking for me.
And
instead
she
of-
what?
I don't care what you said. It was speaking
Okay,
for
so
me.
then we're not having a conversation. I knew it was vacuous and it was empty. Furthermore, I know you always bring that point up because when I say things that are generally true for everyone always is like, well, you didn't ask everyone to prove that that's how everyone feels. I don't have to. I know this to be true because I'm a normal human being. And if I was to ask the other niggas in this room, I know that it's true. Or they can go and object right now. Go ahead, one of you, object to what I said about the fact that naturally, if you were to see two dudes kissing, that it would probably draw a little bit of repulsion inside of you internally, like involuntarily. Go ahead and object. Which one of you, besides Prime?
I felt that way.
No. So the thing that I'm objecting to is how you frame that. Okay, is that like no? I had that inside me. What you're talking about, the cringe, right? 100%.
Of course.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a natural thing. I think that's taught, right? I think that we're taught to think that this is deviant. Yeah, it's a deviant behavior, right? Like because if that was the case, then there should be no difference between two men kissing and two women kissing. You acknowledge the difference, that there's a difference in that. But these things should both be as abnormal, but we feel differently about these things. We're allowed to. We're about to say, well, this is you can lust after this thing, right? But you have to have scorn for this other thing. So I disagree with the natural part, but I agree that the reaction is there.
I actually object to that. Okay. I disagree with the thing about the. I'm sorry. Okay, you can disagree with me. It's fine. I think that. Like I said, I had that feeling initially, but I just spent enough time in Atlanta around a lot of queer people where, and I'm just real. Like there's a large gay community where it eventually went away. So I'm saying when I was talking about desensitized, I think I did become desensitized to it, but I think I'm better for it. Like I don't think it was a bad thing to get desensitized to. I think I'm like, oh, okay, it made me a more accepting overall human being.
So then you don't disagree then.
The reason I was objecting, I wasn't disagreeing with you. I was disagreeing with Prime in saying that it was taught. I don't think it's necessarily even taught. I think it's closer to what you were saying initially, Fanatic, that it's something that if you naturally don't see a lot. So, for example, I think that when we were children, I think we had that same cringe feeling to any boy and girl kissing too. Whether it be your parents or like whenever you first see kissing, you feel like, ew, that's gross because you didn't see it, you didn't experience, and then you eventually see more kissing generally, and you become like, oh, okay, this is
Bam and Fanatic. You're talking about the two things, right? I want to establish that you're talking about the same thing. So what I interpreted what Fanatic meant is that natural mean born with it, right? Born innate, right? And then you said it sounded like you said, Bam. Sorry, what is this? All right, Smooth. You gotta Smooth, please. You gotta mute.
We can hear your shit, Blood. We can hear that shit, Blood.
Oh wow, I thought I muted.
And then Bam, what you said, what sounded like to you said is that it's natural because we don't see a lot. So it sounds like you were making a frequency argument, not not an innate argument.
Well, yeah, I think it's frequency, but I think it goes into born because you're born with a zero frequency. Like you're born not experiencing it, so whenever you see it, you feel weird about it. Like I said, I know I used to think boys and girls kissing, like, oh yeah, you gonna like girls one day. You
But
no,
that's a stretch,
never.
That's a stretch in. Okay, so hold on, let me hit up Fanatic, right? Because my interpretation was that you meant innate, right? And I feel like innate is much different from frequency. Am I incorrect?
Well, they could be, but I mean, I think you guys are you guys are arguing two different things. I am saying that it's innate, and Bram is saying it's innate, and he's saying that it's innate until desensitization.
Mm-hmm.
No, but no. And then, do you think that it's natural to reject heterosexual interactions? You think that's a natural thing? Because I would say differently.
Arguably, I mean, I guess we would have to assume
sorry, I was
post-puberty.
meant Fanatic at that point.
I know you meant Fanatic, but I'm saying like I was just differentiating post-puberty because pre-puberty you probably reject a lot of relationships. Then you like your hormones start kicking in.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that's true. I didn't have that experience. I never was that ew girls. That never happened to me.
Oh.
I don't like that. I never went through that experience.
I don't know if
I know
that's
plenty of people that don't. Some people go through that. Some people don't. I just never went through
I
that.
think I was socialized. So I did do that. The thing what you're talking about, Bam, I did. But I think that's because I was socialized to. Like even on TV, right? There was like the ew girls things. Girls have cooties, right? And that's like, oh, this is how I interact with the opposite sex, right? Like girls have cooties, and you know, I was supposed to pull their hair or some shit. I don't know, right? So I don't think none of that's innate. I didn't pull anyone's hair. Let's be clear. Sorry, I put that
He's
out.
lying.
But yeah. So I don't think that's innate.
Okay. I mean, I'll let you and Fanatic finish y'all's thing before I like.
Oh no, I'm done. You finish. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I could now you're just getting into the science of it. Like I said, that what you're saying could absolutely be true. I'm just thinking back to my my experience, like I said, and that's something I don't know why I felt that way. It could be because of like the things we see on TV and the socialization of boys and girls. But yeah, or it could just be something that I just like felt like I could believe either one.
Solus.
Question to the central topic, and it's tangential, but it's also on point. Do y'all, because I assume everybody here, grown adult, have their own crib, have their own communities, family, so on and so forth. Are y'all bothered by someone that does not accept you for some group you may belong to, whether it's being black or being queer, whatever it may be? Are you personally bothered by that if someone doesn't accept you, but rather has what we were talking about, like that like respect thing of like where they might not like it, but they respect it? Does that bother y'all?
It depends on how it shows up. Like I'm about to say, I associate general Trump supporting things with like you probably have like you may not have personal issues with me, but you probably have some like tangential like
anti-blackness or something.
Yeah, anti-blackness. Yeah, and I think that's like I don't like the idea that Trump people are Trump supporters, but I live in Trump country and I know a lot of like good human beings, like they're good friends, good parents. You know, all these things that also happen to be Trump supporters. So I don't hold personally accountable, but I can imagine anti-blackness showing up in different ways that I would like actually have a personal problem with. But like I said, that now you're just dealing with the specifics.
That's what I'm saying. Like if it's at that level where like, because I think everyone has this to some degree. It might not be because somebody's a part of a group where it's like, I don't like you. We don't get along. I don't fuck with you. You're on your side of the fence and I'm on mine. I'm not going to do anything to you or anything like that, but we will never intermix because we just don't align for whatever reason. And I'm like, if you're on the other end of that, right? If you're the person that is not being accepted, that's getting whatever treatment, but it's not like, again, no one's punching you in the face, no one's shooting you, no one's depriving you of a job or a home, shit like that. This person does not accept you. They tolerate you, right? They don't like you, right? They don't like you, but they just respect you. How do you you as a person, how do you react to that?
It depends on how much respect I have for the individual. If I respect the individual, like or like the individual, then yeah, it's gonna like it would bother me. I think it would bother any human being. We have a natural like desire to want to be included and to fit in. We're social beings, but If it comes to the conclusion where if it's a situation where it's like, oh, I don't even respect this nigga, then it's like, oh, I genuinely can't care less. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you don't like me, but I don't like you either. So then it doesn't really impact me at all. I always say an insult is only as powerful as your respect for the person who issued it, which means if a nigga I respect insults me, then it's like, dang, that actually cuts deep because nigga, like, we're cool. Like, why would you know what I mean? But then if it's somebody I don't even respect insults me, it's like, well, this doesn't mean anything to me. So if somebody like just completely erects out of their brain some nonsense, like, oh, you're speaking for me, it's like, oh, okay, well, I just know how you are. I'm not tripping. I feel like I can never express myself, y'all, man. Dang.
Wow.
I can never express myself. Jeez.
Like Fanatic's decently socially conservative by his own. Like I don't know what that means specifically, but I have an idea based on how he speaks. Like I imagine there's things that I would believe. Well, I'm just based on how me and Fanatic speak on here. I imagine there's things that I would do or say, or things, not even things I would do because I actually live probably a pretty traditional life, but things I would believe in that Fanatic would have a problem with. And I think there was a point earlier on where it did bother me a little bit, but I think I've come to a position of like, oh, okay, like it is what it is. It's not that deep.
I think we're assembling pieces of an equation here, right? So I think what Fanatic said previously is correct, right? But also, getting to like including what Bam here said, I think another part is like the thing that they're objecting to, and
How internal is it? How like foundational is it?
Yes,
to you?
exactly. That it's an innate characteristic, it's something that's foundational to your sense of identity, right? So people reject me for being a gamer, right? Like I don't like I've had friends, right, who don't like people who play, they think video games are immature, right? And like this is stupid, like and they have less respect because I spend time doing that, right? It's like, okay, right? Well, that I find that annoying that you feel that way about something that I care about a lot, like that I enjoy a lot any which way. But it's fine. It's whatever, right? It'd be different if they talked about me being black, right? It's like, yeah, I'll interact with you, but like your blackness like is a problem for me.
You're lucky you're one of the good ones, Prime.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
like that. I don't know if I can continue effing with this person. Like that's a step too far. I think that's the crux of it is how much do I value how foundational is this to me.
On ground, I would assume everybody here like their blackness means something to them. On the grounds of your blackness, does that change it? Like if someone says, "I do not like you because you are black. I respect you in every way, shape, or form." Like, what is your engagement with that person? Do you actually? Because I feel like I'm more on the lines of like Fanatic. I feel like if you say, "I don't like you because you're black," I don't deem that, me personally, how I go through life. I do not myself deem that a good enough reason to not like somebody. Since this is your way of thinking, I don't respect the way you think. Therefore, I don't give a fuck that I've been excluded from whatever the fuck I've been excluded from. Right? But does that change for y'all? Do y'all feel it? Because it's kind of the central of the topic. I'm just trying to like tangentially attach it to something we all care about. If that's you, are you engaging with this person that said that they rejected you? Are you about to argue or go in any kind of conversation with them? Or is it just more like, okay, well, fuck it. If you think that, stay over there.
I think that goes back to what Fanatic says about respect, disrespect the person. Because like, yeah, if random dude down the street says it, you can just choose to not deal with them. If your mother says like, I love you, but I just wish you weren't gay. I wish that you could just come back, baby, stop doing it. I can understand that having a different level of like hit. Like even if they say it in a nice voice, even if they like, they still like,
I just want to save you from eternal damnation. That's what I want to do.
I can understand that I can understand that really hitting someone different.
Yeah.
Different. That's different. I see that to me that's not fair. Then that's again not allowing somebody else to believe what the freak that they want to believe, right? Like because ultimately, if like I believe that acting on homosexuality is a sin. I do, right? Like so as a Christian, I'm going to say that a person who's like engaging in homosexual activity that they're doing something that is sinful. Now, I also recognize that everyone has a right to live as they want to live. So if I have a child that's gay, I'm going to look at that child and I'm going to be thinking, yeah, this is something know the beliefs. You know the way. If you believe in God and you believe that the Bible is the inspired word of God, then you got to come to the belief that what you're doing is indirect whatever. I'd feel the same way about if my child decided he was just gonna never marry and just be living in sin and just running through a bunch of different women. Be like, bro, you got to get it together. This is like sinful behavior if you don't live right. Like that goes for any sin. If I had a child that was committing adultery and cheating on his wife, I'm gonna be looking at you like, bro, like better than this. If it's wrong, it's wrong. So I think it's crazy as hell to me that we can't have even our own religious beliefs. And this is exactly why it feels to me so frequently that it's not acceptance, it's not tolerance, it's encroachment. It's never just about, hey, I want to be able to live free the way I want to live. It's I want you to accept and endorse the way I live, and I'm going to deem you as some sort of threat or some sort of demon if you disagree with the way I live in any way. That's what frequently happens.
I don't think we were saying that. Like I said, I don't think anybody was.
Prime would agree with everything I just said.
But I was just the reason I had brought up the example wasn't to shame the parent who's saying it. I'm saying that I can acknowledge that the child, even if they understand where the parent's coming from, could still be damaged by it. That doesn't mean it's wrong. I'm just saying, like, I understand why hearing something like that from a parent can
fuck somebody up, like it can hurt.
So help me out. If I'm having if I'm just like cheating on my wife relentlessly, right? I'm just running through all sorts of random Asian women or something. At that point, I don't know why I threw in the race there. It didn't matter. It was inconsequential. But if I was doing that,
somebody cut that. He ain't say
No,
like
don't do that.
he did that on his own. It was Asian.
I might get Umar.
Notify Dr. Umar.
y'all know what I mean. But if I was doing that, and then my mother came to me and was just like, hey, this is really this is a really bad thing for you to be doing that. How is that hurtful? How am I feeling?
I don't think adultery. I don't think it's foundational to you. I don't think that. I think that would be the difference.
But that's not fair because it might be. It could be that he never wants to settle down and all he wants to do is fuck around.
Yeah, you want to tell me that it's not inherent? Hold on, wait, no.
There's some people that don't like it, Prime. Don't do that.
Not some people. Not some people. Not some people. All people. Are we going to literally sit here and pretend and lie to ourselves that we're like naturally, like that we're naturally monogamous? We're not naturally monogamous. That's not the way we're engineered. We've learned through culture and society that this is the way to behave. But we're not naturally monogamous people.
People can be naturally homosexual, and that's the difference between us.
If most niggas had the ability, the allowance, that I can just run through as many as I could, and I could still get all of the other benefits that come with it, they would do so. And they've demonstrated it with polygamy with kings and princes, etc., etc. And then the more wealthy and successful people are, then the more that they practice less monogamous lifestyles. So let's not sit here and lie to ourselves. We're not naturally monogamous. I don't think
this example works. I think if comparing it for you, if it would be like, I think any music you do, any type of music you involve yourself in, that's not like traditional gospel or whatever. Like I think you're just you're committing sin, son. And I know the way you love music, and I know you don't. You have issues with hip hop now because of the things that advocate for. But I don't think you're strictly gospel, right? You like other types of music, don't you?
Of course, I've released albums of like entirely different genres.
And I imagine the way you talk about music, it's like a true passion. It is something foundational to you as a person. Is music, or am I wrong?
Of course.
Yeah. So if you had a parent who said that like son, and if this was your way of life, this is how you made your career, this is something that brought the happiest moments were you performing the music you create, on the stage, but the music just doesn't happen to be gospel, and your mother said that like I love you, son, but you in this music is like it's disgusting, it's gross, like I can't support that, and I can never.
If I was doing not gospel, is the devil music,
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, in order to make it a little bit more consistent, right? Because that's not well founded in scripture or something. So I would feel like she was just being ignorant there. But let's look at something where I remember I have a brother. My entire family is musical, and I had a brother. He was doing a song, and the song said, it was the beat was from the thing, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. I just can't, whatever, but I don't want to be alone tonight or whatever. And my mom was like, son, I hate that message. I hate that song. That song is literally promoting the antithesis of everything that we believe in, everything that I believe in, my entire faith, right? I don't feel like you, my brain can't
one song though.
Hold on, I get you, but I'm just saying that's not rejection of him. That's rejection of the thing that you're doing, and it's wrong. And even if he would, if it was like, you know, something that was core to him, it's like, yo, if I'm telling you this is what my beliefs are, I'm going to allow a person the ability to believe the way that they believe. And if it's a well-founded belief, because there are plenty of scriptures to support this, if it's a well-founded, scripturally, biblically fundamental belief, then I'm going to sit there and say, okay, I know where you're coming from, even if I disagree, right? My mother and I don't agree about everything. So if I'm drinking alcohol and my mother is saying, you know, I really, you know, that alcohol is really, really problematic, I'm not going to sit there and be like, how dare she? Oh, she better to tolerate and accept it.
I'm sorry.
What are we talking about?
Come on.
You understand, and I know you understand. I know even you don't agree with the argument. I know you understand what the other side of the argument is. I already know this about you, Fanatic, right? That you know that the other side is going to say, hey, like being gay is natural. Right, that's like a natural feeling on them. Again, you might not agree with that.
The jury's still out on that.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
So the jury's still out on that.
The jury's still out. Okay, yeah. Well, no,
we still ain't found that gay gene, bro.
But I would agree with you to a certain extent, right? Because I was actually going to go there. But that's the argument. So we can't bring in alcohol, right? Like as if that's the same thing. We know it's not the same thing. Going back to the monogamous argument you're making. And relating it to this, I'd say there is a heavy mix of both, right? In terms of natural inclinations and natural behavioral patterns and influence. It's the more I've had these conversations, the more I see it's foolish to try to to say it's one or the other, to be binary about these things, right? That these things are so much tied together that we can't unravel these things, in my opinion. But part of it certainly is a natural instinct, at least for, I think, most gay individuals. And so if you're saying, well, your natural inclination to want to be with someone of the same sex, right, it's inherently sinful, that is fundamentally different than talking about the action of drinking. We understand, even if you disagree, you understand those two things are different.
But it wouldn't
right?
be. But it wouldn't be different. It wouldn't be different than the act of wanting to commit adultery. Because again, I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys are all going to continue to lie to yourselves, but I'm not going to be gaslit here. Simply getting married doesn't mean that you stop finding other women attractive. And if another woman is throwing it at you, you're going to have a natural, physiological inclination to want to sleep with that person. We have to assume that you have a moral system, right, and enough integrity to honor the vows and the commitment you made to your wife. But every man here will tell you that the natural inclination to want to sleep with that other person is there. And if a person acts on their natural inclination, for someone to go and tell you, hey, that natural inclination that you got there is a little bit wrong, I still don't think that should be so untoward.
But it's not found, again, what Bam said previously, it's not foundational to your personality. Like, we're also not going to pretend that being non-monogamous, being an adulterer, right, is foundational. People are like, people don't go around identifying them as a class of adulterers. That's not a thing that people do, right? They don't know have civil.
Just because it isn't classified, what makes it? How are you defining foundational? How are you defining that? What do you mean?
Future would argue with you.
Future would argue with these guys.
So Future, yeah.
He's a rapper. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Shut up! Fuck you! Fuck you! I know that Future as a person exists. Right? I just don't listen to music. Shut up! Anyway. Foundational in the way core to their identity in the way that being black is core to your identity, right? I
don't think these things are the same.
I know you don't. I know you.
So then
don't.
that's where your argument rests.
Hold on. But I'm trying to. I know you don't, but you know that when you throw these things out, like if you're trying to communicate with us, you know that these individuals feel this way, right? That this is the argument. These individuals feel that this is core to identity, so it'd be different than just drinking. It'd be different than just sleeping with someone else, right? Like let's try to if we're going to make this a productive conversation, let's try to be analogous here, right? And then maybe move forward.
Yeah, that's why I tried to use
but the problem is
relate to him.
Yeah, exactly. And I met you there and explained to you how I still felt the same. But again, I think we fundamentally disagree, and I think
No,
that's
we don't.
I don't know I don't know what we can do there because you're
So-
saying, hey, suspend your fundamental belief and engage with me on my fundamental belief that is unfounded and that I can't substantiate. I need that gay gene, right? So I don't know. I don't think it's fair.
You don't need a gay
You
gene.
do
It's
it.
not-
You do in order to
no,
be
it's not even
okay, in order to
works
prove
in the
that.
first place.
Oh,
That's
look,
not how
it's not a
genetics
straight
works.
gene.
There isn't just a single gene that does a thing, right? We
Okay.
understand that genetics.
Find the cluster of gay genes.
Okay, great. We haven't found a cluster of genes that does lots of things, but we can understand these things that just because we don't find the genes that express these things, that they still show up in human beings, right?
If
we
it's so
haven't found-
natural,
if we
then why is
haven't
it
found
such an
the
anomaly?
cluster of genes that do eyeball stuff, right? Doesn't mean we don't understand that eyeballs are a real thing. Like so, like
We kind of
we don't
have,
need.
but if it's so natural, why is it such an anomaly?
It's not. It's not an
I don't
anomaly.
think. I don't think
It's like less than 5% of the population. What are you talking
That's a huge
about?
amount of the population. That's actually huge.
Less than 5% means that it's not the norm,
That's
right?
I didn't say,
It's probably
I didn't
gonna
say
be
it was the
growing.
norm. I said that,
So then it's an
not
anomaly.
Hold on, you asked me if it's an anomaly. I'm saying it's not an anomaly.
Okay, let me look up the word anomaly. Maybe
I think it's like
it's a semantical
25
thing.
I don't want to give the definition war of you. So
I'll
it's an
do it. I'll do
anomaly.
it for it.
If it shuts you up on this, then fine. It could be an anomaly. If you want to call it an anomaly, I don't give a care if it's called an anomaly. The point is that it's a natural thing that happens.
Okay, yeah, so it is something different, abnormal, peculiar. Yeah, it's an
Oh,
anomaly.
wow.
There's probably
Okay.
more queer Gen
follow
Zers
something
than
real
black Gen Zers.
No, or can I post
so-
something real quick because it's like back like to the fucking topic we were talking about.
Okay.
That's this idea that because we talk about. Cause I wanted to get into this,
Yeah,
but then
it
these
seems
niggas
like we
started shooting
convinced
at
a
each other.
fanatic. We don't got to convince fanatic.
It's
Yeah,
all right.
you don't.
Oh my god.
You can't convince me. I'm convincing y'all. I know some of y'all are starting to realize this nigga's spitting.
That's
Wait, no,
that's
I
the
was gonna
point.
get
That's the
this shit
point of the
off.
conversation. Sorry, go
I just
ahead.
I just want to get this shit off. Y'all can shoot at each other some more. Because it's something I find interesting, especially with minorities. Because a part of me being a minority is something that well, not even just a minority, any group I belong to. I don't give a fuck if it's the hood I grew up in or being black. I understand. Me and Leafy were talking about this. Everything has an antithesis, right? And I always say, if I want to identify as something, I have to accept that there are people that are the exact opposite of what I am. Meaning, if you say right now, Fanatic, you have kids?
Nope.
Oh, wait, well, let's say he did have kids. I would assume he'd take pride in saying, I am a good father, whatever that definition is in his head, right?
Yep.
That now means that there are things you cannot do. And you also would accept that there are people that are going to look at you a certain way for how you may go about being a father. And you accept that those people are your antithesis. They don't fuck with you. They don't like you. You are literally different. And you accept that for the identity that you have chosen to engage in, right?
Okay.
No, my point is that how do y'all engage with that as minorities, right? Because I think everyone, like we were saying here, everybody takes pride in their blackness, right? Everyone here takes, it means something to you all, I would assume, right?
Oh,
so,
sure.
and somebody that chooses to actually identify that and be proud of it, right? When you engage with somebody, like, is that a part of your pride to be like, I accept that with this comes the fact that I'm going to have people that are against me?
Sure. It just you're talking about how do you have confidence in the face of haters that like literally contend with the thing that you're proud about. And I think we've had to do that forever, right?
And
Being
how?
black,
I'm also asking, like, do you bake that in? Like, if somebody if you had a black person told you, I'm super proud of being black, but you always saw that black person seeking acceptance from people that didn't like black people, would you look at them away?
No, not necessarily. I
Okay.
mean, it could just be a thing of, hey, like, I know that this blackness is great, and I'm trying to share this amazing blackness with everybody else, right? So it's like, I mean, white wives need attention too.
It depends on how it looks. I was about to say because arguably that could be arguably that's how we came into the definition of like niggas to be cooning. It's like, oh, I'm black, but I show up for white people in a way that's valuable to them, and I want them to like me. Like I think the way it shows up, we could call that cooning.
So I think
Like Candace
I think
Owens claims that she loves being black, but like
She don't love being black.
No.
She's a liar.
Liar.
yeah, but I'm just saying that's the way she shows up.
Holy shit, in agreement. I never thought I'd see it. What were you saying?
Move.
so. What I was gonna say is I think my stance is more so like with people's actions. I guess I find myself more aligning with what Fanatic's been saying here is that if you're doing a certain set of actions, right? Like I don't think it's wrong for somebody to look at you and go, I don't like this particular thing that you are doing. And I think what he's saying, what even I'm saying, like with people being your sex and what you choose to do sexually is whatever you're choosing to do at the time. Because you could, it again, that's why they call it a spectrum, because you could stop doing it and do something else. You could. You could, because there's an option there. And I know a lot of people might like, oh my God, this is crazy, like to hear that, but like you could do something else. And I think a lot of people's disdain is for people's what they're choosing to do. And I don't think you're gonna get people to get to a place where they're just gonna fully accept or wrap around whatever somebody's doing. If your parent looks at you crazy and goes, yo, I'm not okay with you being gay, you know what I'm saying, right? Like keep it on the argument. Like, okay, cool. Like they don't accept it. But you knew that particular person wasn't going to accept it. Like without giving it like too much about my personal my family, like I have a cousin that he became transgender, transitioned, and like showed up one day to work with the business that he had with my other cousin, right? Literally, like right, he literally did. He literally did. My cousin was in such shock. He left work, went home. All right, they own the business. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of funny, but like, so look, so the other cousin closes up the business or whatever, pulls up to the house, right? He goes, man, stop playing with me, man. You're like they did everything together. They were best friends. They've been best friends for the last 35 years, right? Bro was so pissed. They end up fighting, literally fist fighting in the yard of the grandparents' house, and we have not seen dude since.
Mm.
I think that's a tragedy. Like I don't think that was
that
sounds like a horrible story.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, you got to communicate better than that.
Knew. Yeah. But he should have, like, there's a way to soft land that than actually just show up in front of somebody that you know is devoutly religious and go, yo,
why
bro.
would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
That's a weird place. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, it can be put better, but that's a weird place to put the blame. Like, if you said this is the best friend of 35 years, I feel like I can understand there's people that you have to show up a certain type of way. My best friend and family member of 35 years, I should be able to show up how I show up and be
no,
I'm sorry. Simply being
because you know that person,
you can feel
right. Simply being a family member, being a family member doesn't absolve you of decency and communication. If we're really that close, you could have communicated with me as opposed to just showing up in character.
Oh my God!
I'm telling y'all, I gotta get the ball out of certain niggas' hands before I be filmed it before it happens. I be seeing a punchline before it comes. I just can't do anything about it.
Jesus Christ, man. We love everybody. AB,
I do. I love everyone, and you have a right to do exactly how you want.
It's crazy.
I like being nonsensical. But I'm saying, like, legitimately, honestly, I mean, I feel like yes. If a person wants to come out to somebody, you don't just oh, by the way, here's a porn video. You know what I mean? You can have communication. Like, communication is a thing. I don't know why you would do that. And like, that's going to be a lot for a person to handle, for sure. I just don't know why you would do that. I feel like that to me is just bad form.
Yeah, okay, hold on, but
the idea of never getting past it, like they're saying, they're like, oh, that relationship's dead now. Is like,
it seems like the point Smooth is making previously though was more on the type of person, right, in their core beliefs. So like I think we can acknowledge that the story that you talked about was not the best way to handle this, right? There could have been better ways to do that. But the more salient issue is the cisgender cousin, right? Like their beliefs, right, and how they're going to react. So it could be possible that the transgender cousin thought like there's and they could be wrong. They can be right. They could be wrong. I don't know their relationship, but like there's no way this is going to end well, right? There's no way that I can do this otherwise. And so so they thought like I just might as well just get it out there in public in this way. That like this individual, their religion maybe might be core to them, might be to the point where they think this is so sinful that I don't know of a good way of doing this, and so I'll show up this way. right?
So they did the worst thing possible.
I don't know. I'm not excusing it. I'm not excusing it. Like that. But I'm saying that, like, but the point is that, like some people, and again, going back to like the heart of this discussion, right? Like, some people seem recalcitrant. It might be from their relationship. Maybe they drop hints, right? Talked about these things, tried to bring it up, and then their cousin is like derisive, saying that, like, oh, like trans people are disgusting or whatever, right? I don't know. That might have happened. I don't know if it did, but like that's the thing that could happen, you know. And so, like, how do you deal with that? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the best.
You have a conversation. You have a conversation. Look, I
think it's friends, better, but I don't know.
I'm about to say, just making a comparison.
Okay. So same family. There's another cousin. He is gay.
Something's in your blood.
Still shows. He's still not. Hey, yo, chill out. Hey, pause. So listen. So same family, right? But he just told people. He didn't show up with a man at the family reunion. He didn't show up like transitioned out of nowhere. Like, he just was like, hey, yo, look, guys, this is what I'm into. Everybody went, oh, well, we been new, bro. Like, we was waiting for you to tell us. We been knew something was off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got a totally different reaction because he actually just expressed it without
and I'm
saying, yo,
so,
here's
me. But what if he did bring some a man around next time?
Hop out and show niggas.
No, you gotta. No, but here's the thing, though. When you're talking about people and tolerance, you have to walk them down to meet you somewhere, right? You got to meet them somewhere too.
Counterpoint to that, then there's this idea that I was raised with, and I still stand by this, right? If you fuck with me the way you say you do, and he's my closest family and friends, like, I have a best friend named Daquan. I love that nigga to death. We've been through everything together. If that nigga came to me as fucking Diana, I don't give a fuck. I really wouldn't. That's my nigga. We've been through too much, and I'd be weird to have to go through all the fucking weirdness of that. But I fuck with him so tough that he knows in his heart he could do whatever the fuck he wants. That man is, but he pulled up to me fucking Muslim one day. He's still Muslim, but I'm just saying, I'm dead ass. I want y'all to imagine, folks. Two niggas that grew up in the south side of Chicago doing all type of hood shit together, and one day niggas just praising Allah. Fuck me up. Fuck me all the way up, bro. Fuck me. It was really, really strange. It went against everything we grew up believing. We both didn't grow up very religious. We had problems with our family and shit, but I didn't care because that's my nigga. Some people are of that belief that, like, bro, if we family, which means a lot, let's not just throw that to the side of what it means. I should be able to do this. Now, I don't know if you should do that exactly, but there are some people that believe that, like, I can show up to you however the fuck I want. We family, we blood. Your blood of my blood, flesh of my flesh, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. To follow up on what Solus is saying, like, that's kind of exactly the idea I was thinking. And the idea that you care about this person and they mean something to you. If this person, mental health and everything else, is attached to no longer wearing male clothes, and they show up wearing what they feel most comfortable wearing that's best for them, why shouldn't they be accepted? It may.
So here's the kicker. Here's the kicker here. If you love the people that you just came out to, would you not present it in a way for them to understand you? Love is a two-way street.
We're putting all of the
Bam. No, Bam. I want to.
You're making a one-way street, though. That's what I'm arguing. You're saying
no. It's not a one-way. It's not a one. No, Bam.
Yeah, let me just give a quick outro. Listen, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think that everybody has a right to live how they want to live. I don't think you should be encroaching on other people with your lifestyle. I'm an obvious practicing Christian. You don't hear me forcing it down your throat, even though I know it's the truth. I could save some of you niggas from hell, but you don't see me just pushing this and forcing this all down your throat. And I think that's where a lot of the problems come. Some people want to wear their sexuality on their collar. They can't just be content to be gay. They got to be content to demonstrate that they're gay. And I think that stuff can be somewhat repulsive to some people. And I think that's where a lot of the problems come. I don't think that you should be discriminating against people, hating other people, like just being an overall bad person to other people. And I think abuse of a child should be really, really clear on what that freaking is. I think people have a right to have boundaries. I think communication is absolutely important. But at the end of the day, you should love every single person, regardless of what lifestyle that they're doing, whatever the choices that they're making, whatever the freak that they're doing. You have to love the people. That doesn't mean you have to necessarily love the actions. And there are going to be people who are going to live a lifestyle in a way that I don't believe is spiritually correct. That doesn't make me hate the person. It doesn't make me want harm on that person. I believe in liberty, and I believe in everyone's ability to have their own free will and their own free choice, because that's what God did, right? He didn't just tell Adam and Eve, hey, you can't eat this fruit. He gave you the choice. That's what free will freaking is. And so if we're going to be living in a world where we're able to exercise our agency with our free will, we should allow everybody else the agency to do the exact same thing. Y'all know where to find me. Look, on the 19th, 9 days from now, there's going to be the Taste of Soul, biggest one-day festival in the entire western coast. 500,000 people in attendance. I am headlining that with the band that I'm in, called Dirty Rice. Anybody in the greater Los Angeles area, y'all should go ahead and head over there and check that on out. I think it's gonna be a freaking
really
banger of a
wish
show.
I was on the West Coast. I'd come to see a friend. I really would.
Yeah.
But you got my
Leafy
support,
did.
man. You got my support. You
Yeah.
got my love.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Unless you play
Leafy
music
actually
we don't
did
like.
come.
Joking.
Oh, stop it. He came and he supported. Yeah. But either way, it's y'all know. All right. I love you guys. I'm out.
Yeah.
Peace.
Have a good one, friend. So we'll continue for a little bit. Gambit says he wants to show up. So hope if he does in a little bit, we'll see if we can accommodate him, because I know that people might. Actually, I know Solus, you gotta go too soon, right?
I was about to say, like, I got like 25 minutes. I had a question I wanted to ask Debate Queen real quick.
Okay. But hold on. Smooth
sorry,
wanted to say something. So Smooth, let's let you finish, and then we'll go to Solus.
I guess the only thing I really wanted to, I don't even remember what I was
You were
talking
saying
about,
Bam is wrong and Prime is right. You were saying that's what you were.
I guess to the sentiment of, I guess love, like I was saying, love is a two-way. Now I remember, like, love is a two-way. Like, if you care about these, like, oh, I know the example I was going to give. Bam. So Bam, right? It's like your girlfriend, right? You know, if you're with this woman, right, for a really long time, you know that she loves you, right?
Mhm.
But you know there are certain things that, like, aren't her cup of tea. So if you go to approach her about it because you know that she loves you, but because you love her, you're going to present it in a way that she would accept what you're saying. Yes or no?
Yes, I understand that from a practicality perspective, but I also
Then what's the
think
problem?
I to say I also think one. I mean, one from my I'm going to take it back to family, but dealing with the relationship dynamic you just brought up, I think the healthiest version of a relationship is a relationship where you do, like, oh, okay, we have open and honest communication. I don't have to sugarcoat things with you. I can tell you exactly how I feel and who I
It's
am as I
not.
am.
It's not sugarcoating to say something a correct way.
I think that's my definition of what we call sugarcoating. It's saying that, like, I have to lay it out
No,
a
no, no,
certain
no, no,
way.
no,
I have to
no,
throw
no,
some
no,
sugar
no,
on it.
no. Saying shut the fuck up versus hey, can you please be quiet is completely different.
Yeah, but I think the
That
saying shut the F
one
up is
you can say that's
wrong.
that's sugarcoating. You can say one is sugarcoating. You
Okay,
could,
but I'm saying that I think
but that's not
saying,
practical.
but I think saying shut the F up is wrong versus, like, I don't think someone coming out and being trans. I guess I wouldn't equivocate those two. I know that the person involved would. The example, bringing it back to families, that made me think is something I've said on here a number of times. Is for Black people specifically. It's not inherently against the thing, but for Black people specifically, I have strong qualms with interracial marriage. I believe Black people, especially in Americans, that should, like, exclusively be dating and marrying other Black people. Um, this is something that I will openly share with my children. But I do know, if I have a daughter or son and they guess who me, and they bring home someone that they say that they love very much, and they happen to be of some other race or ethnicity, I have a choice to make. I can either say that, like, I always told you this, and I can make a scene, and I can reject this person, and in tune kind of reject her or them, because that's who they've declared that they have love for, or I can have a moment of, like, oh, okay, I had all these views, I have these things that I believe in, but at the end of the day, this is my son or daughter. This is who they decide to share a part of, like, their life with me, and I can be an adult here. I can think through it, and even if I still have my issues, I can show them that I can meet them with love and acceptance. Even if I don't necessarily acknowledge or agree with all of it. And that's what like I said, I hope I don't get put in that situation. But I like to think if I was, that's the way that I would respond to it. And if someone didn't respond that way, I don't think it's responsible to say that like, oh, well, you could have told them first, or you could have like. I don't think it's healthy to say to put the reason why it didn't go well on the other person, on the person who's doing it, because I don't think that person did anything wrong. Now, that doesn't mean that there's ways you can do things to get better results. Like, yeah, you can, ease this in if you want better results. But just doing it, if we don't, either the behavior is right or wrong. If you think an adult has a right to choose to be gay, or has a right to be gay, or a adult has a right to transition, if that's something you truly believe, however they show up to their family, as long as they're doing that thing, the family would be the one in the wrong if they respond incorrectly.
Mhm. Let's
Oh,
go.
also, I found this cat came in my house. I found it in my house this morning. I don't know how it got in there, but
Only pussy you
Bam,
could
what?
yeah,
And you just accepted it as it was.
Hey.
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, you just accepted it as it was.
I actually don't want a cat, but I'm like I had to get stuff in between time until I can find someone to take it. But
I
yeah,
was
it's really teeny tiny
I was gonna,
cat.
Debate Queen. How do you feel about the question we posed earlier as the question we posed earlier as it relates to gay people?
DQ, are you
I think
there?
her soul
I
has
think
left
she's
her
asleep.
body.
She's very asleep. We didn't take her off camera.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's asleep. You're right. Hold on, we're gonna try it. DQ.
No, she's very asleep.
DQ. Okay, yeah, she's asleep. All right, we're just gonna take her off camera. Sorry.
Because
Yeah,
and the
she's
reason
gone.
that I asked that question is that
gone.
as it relates to being black and a lot of other things that I find that I am, people that seek acceptance from motherfuckers that don't fuck with us tend to bother me. I am of the belief and thought tree of like, the only time I have a problem with somebody not accepting me is if they said that they did. That I'll have a problem with because there's a hypocrisy there. Like, don't say, hey, like black people, but stay away from me, you fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's weird. But if somebody is outwardly like, yeah, I don't like you, I am prideful of my identity. And to me, that also means I take that. I accept that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be what I am, and being what I am is also like acknowledging that there are people that are opposite of me. And so when people go out of their way to engage with people that have let them know that they hate them, it bothers me. It just feels really weird. Like if you're proud to be what the fuck you are, why are you seeking acceptance from someone who just said they don't fuck with you? Why is that necessary at all? And not on some like civil rights shit where it's like you need this because they won't give you a job. I'm just saying like on a social level, why do you give a fuck?
Well, this is where like Bam said something I agreed with. Like, it depends on how it shows itself. So if somebody doesn't fuck with me and just doesn't do anything, they just live their life, go in their apartment, they don't say hi to me, whatever, I'm fine with that. But if they actively like throw my mail on the floor, put shit in my parking space, like whatever the case may be, I'm gonna have an issue with that. Same thing goes if it's a restaurant and that's like the place I want to eat and I find out they don't like me, I don't know what they're doing to my food. So these are things you have to consider when you consider somebody doesn't fuck with you for whatever immutable reason or reason that can be fixed. Like,
But say it's that person that did what you said, as far as like they just don't fuck with you and they kind of give you the cold shoulder. How do you feel like you about people who, like I said earlier, like they go out of their way to try to convert or gain acceptance from that person?
yeah, no, you shouldn't go out of your way to do that. Like I said, unless they are like literally causing you problems in life, there's no reason to force further acceptance from them.
And when y'all see other black people do that, do y'all not feel any like need to tell them to fuck off, like to stop? You're making us look bad.
When they do what exactly?
No.
When you see a black person going out of their way to like gain acceptance from somebody that clearly doesn't like black people, and the person that doesn't accept them is not trying to harm them or nothing, they're just going out of their way to say, hey, I'm over here, you're over there.
I think that's some people's
Like-
work to do. I think that's like I think activists are dumb, but I understand the value of activism. Like I think that some people's cross to bear. Some people want to make that their journey. Like I do think that there are people who need to outwardly and openly do that fight for acceptance. I think like there's some people who make the argument that like, oh, black people haven't benefited from integration. Again, I'm not someone who like advocates for like, oh, this strong worldwide big pie community, rainbow community, but I know that there has been benefits and some negative aspects from integration. And although I'm sure there was black people in black communities with black businesses, it's like, shoot, we go okay over here on our own. I understand the value of others deciding that, like, no, this work is valuable. I need to be able to go into this restaurant or that place just like anybody else.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like desegregating the lunch counters, in the South. There's that specific store, that franchise that they put all that work to desegregating. I mean, that's good. I mean, like the libertarian argument would be, well, they don't choose to associate with you, and they should be allowed to not associate with you. You know, that's their private space, and just go make your own lunch counter or whatever the fuck, right? But like I think the work there to integrate, say, no, you can't actually have these like when you're offering services to public, you can't actually have these spaces be like that. You can't discriminate on the basis of race. That's valuable, but that's like telling, especially people preparing your fucking food, which is still wild, man. Like hey, like I'm going to be here, I'm going to order, and you're going to treat me properly. Yeah, I think that work is valuable.
Yeah,
And
it just wouldn't be mine.
To the point of like integration, I think I tend to fundamentally see integration differently than other black people. I always say, like, I think the reason that we had to integrate was not necessarily that integration was the most necessary thing on earth. It's like the shit was a lie. Like we weren't actually separate but equal. It wasn't like we get our slice and you get your slice and we stay away from each other. It's like we get our slice, we fuck up your slice, and at any given time, if we want to do something to your slice, we'll do it. At that point, if you're left in that situation, you really have no choice but to integrate. But I don't know that if like black people were actually given a fair shot, it was actually separate but equal, that a lot of black people would even want to integrate. If you're actually giving your own, like if you're saying, hey man, you can actually have your own slice of the pie and I won't fuck with you, you'll actually have it, I won't bother you, I don't think a lot of people would even want to integrate.
Well, I think the issue is black people are only 16% of the population, so that you're losing out on the greater portion of business you could be getting. You're not working with over 50% of the country. That's money you're losing out on. So you definitely cannot flourish nearly as quickly or as easily just dealing with only black businesses. I'm not saying you can't survive and you can't do well. You're just cutting off your own nose to spite your face.
I remember during the civil rights movement in particular, like at the time of the Birmingham bus boycott, I think there was a new North Carolina bus company, like a black-owned bus company that actually had found some success, that had like advocated and offered, like, oh, I can set up a separate like branch in Birmingham, like blah blah blah. Like we don't need this. We'll just have a black bus company, you know, and we won't give them our business. But I don't know, it wasn't Dr. King, but like the civil rights movement was like, no, that's not the point. Like it's not just about having equal. I think they did want to, like, I think they were intentionally fighting for the integration. Now, it may not have been specifically about busing, but like the Rosa Parks situation, like that was planned. She didn't casually sit down on the bus. She was like prepped by the movement. She knew she was going to get arrested whenever she sat where she sat. And
a lot of the civil rights movement is like, a lot of what the civil rights leaders will say is that a lot of it is holding America to the fire and saying that, like, you said X, Y, and Z about equality. You said you believe X, Y, and Z about men being equal. You said this, so follow up with it.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't really escape that when it comes to civil rights. That, like, a lot of the fight wasn't even some like, the reason that people were seeking out integration or seeking out equality in that way is because that's what black people to this day and then felt like, okay, that's what you said. This is what you promised. So like own up to your half of what you said you do.
Yeah. America's still very segregated technically. If you look at where like black people live, we still generally live in pockets in certain major cities. I didn't grow up in a black city, but
why is that?
Traditionally, huh?
But why is that?
I think it's a desire. I mean, I'm sure that you can talk to redlining and all the other issues, but I think like black people, like my goal in life, I know some people end up like wanting to move off and like, you know, buy a house in the white community, but ideally I would love to live in like a nice black community. Like I want to stay in community with black people for as long as I can. Like ideally, obviously things don't always work out that way.
I mean, in California, it's pretty easy to see like how this kind of shakes out. And I think a lot more black people want to live in like Signal Hill. A lot more black people want to live in Beverly Hills. A lot more black people want to live in areas that are not welcoming to them. And literally just because they don't say outwardly that they don't like you, they're not going to make it easy for you to move into the neighborhood. In Lakewood,
Baldwin Hills?
we have that too. Well, in Lakewood, a buddy of my dad's moved into a house with some other people. The people did not like him there in the neighborhood, would steal his tools, basically just cause him a problem all the way around because they just did not want him in the neighborhood. That's where he wanted to live, but that's not where they wanted him.
Gambit, thanks for joining us. Yeah, just like your thoughts of what you've heard, and you're
I
muted,
think
friend.
Yeah, Gambit's gonna have Pride Parade. He's showing up at
That's
Pride.
what he's like
Absolutely not.
he's gonna be the head of it, right? Like with the baton.
Yeah, so I didn't hear a lot of stuff, but I heard a little bit earlier. Pretty much like carbon copy everything that Fanatics said as he was leaving. I feel like I give people when it comes to like personal relationships, like broad latitude to, be themselves and accept what they want and reject what they want. So when people are like there's a part of me that doesn't even care when people are racist. I just care about systemic power that people wield. So I wouldn't be okay with somebody discriminating with somebody because of their sexuality, but somebody not rocking with it is fine to me. Just like I'd be fine with somebody being racist. I wouldn't like it, of course, and I think people should try to accept people for who they are, even if they don't like their behavior or don't agree with it. But yeah,
So
I generally,
let's
yeah.
focus in on that one part then, because we don't have much time here. Um, that it's okay for people to not like a person. Right? Obviously, everyone has the right to not like whoever they want, right? Cool, but I guess the part of the point of this question is like, is it worth the effort to try to change their mind, right? Because you talked about how like the thing you care about is systemic racism. Well, the reason we, as the Black community, have gotten a chance to address systemic racism is that on a wide scale, we've changed a lot of the hearts and minds of people who aren't Black, right? And shifted opinions there. So, do you think it's worth trying to also like extend that past like the low hanging fruits out there, right? Who like quickly got with the program. Oh, like Black people are are human beings, right? And for the tougher nuts to crack. I don't know. I'm sorry. This metaphor is all over the place. Do you think it's worth like when they express their bigotry to say, hey, that's not okay, and this is why. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Or is that a waste of time?
I think if I care about, so let's say I ran into a race person. If that was something for me to gain from the situation for this person being like less bigoted, then I would invest time or try to figure out ways to strategize against what's happening. But if it's somebody I just generally don't care about and doesn't have any bearings on my life, then I don't really care to change them. Now I might mention in some kind of way that they should be better and hope that they heed that, but understand that they might not because they might
So
be
Boost.
entrenched in wherever they are.
So the start of this conversation was our friend Bam. He mentioned the thing on Boosie, right? A rapper who has a platform, right?
Hmm.
And people are listen and are influenced by him for some fucking reason. But that's the thing that happens, right? So in that case, a person who, as Bam has described, as a person who was
It's not changing
denied
their mind.
like an advanced education, seems to be like quite set in his ways, like to the point where he even rejects like, or he has friction with part of his own family over this particular issue. Do you think it's worth it for that type of person, that the gay community actually put effort into try to change this person's mind?
So like, do I think his celebrity alters whether or not I would advocate to change this person's opinion? I think is the base of it. Um, I mean, I can see advantages in having strong allies, right? We should all be aware that celebrities have a outsized influence on other people. So I could see the idea of wanting to change that person's mind. Um, I don't really care what celebrities think, even though all of that's true. Though I don't think in my personal life I like advocate to change people in big places, but I could see someone having that, and I think that's a reasonable stance to take. It's
Okay.
just not really tea for me. But
I mean, yeah.
I could see where if all popular people hate some demographic that you belong to, you're gonna have a hard time because of that. And advocating that those people change is reasonable and makes sense.
Okay. I think that's a fair answer. Like
Yeah,
I
I
also
think
go ahead.
it would. The biggest thing is like I don't think the reason I don't care about Boosie is because I don't believe Boosie's platform or outreach is speaking to people that like that can be like I think Boosie speaks to niggas like Boosie, and I don't think there's no having this conversation with any of them. So that's I think that's the kind of thing. It's like, oh, okay, he's pretty isolated into his own
Crazy.
thing.
Why do you? That's crazy. You say that because everybody I know that's like that, like street niggas and shit. Well, not everybody. It's you. Obviously, some motherfuckers you can't just sway. I tend to have a conversation that leads to like niggas not. It's not even necessarily being gay. It's that they don't like flamboyant niggas.
Yeah, that's what I started with. I was
Yeah,
like, flamboyant gay men,
definitely
like
most people just don't like flamboyant. Yeah, for sure.
That's a weird thing because I don't. It becomes difficult to gauge that because at that point it's like, as long as you're consistent in that, I can't really be mad at it.
But I feel like it's still about gay. It's just about visually gay.
So I
Yeah.
think no, I don't think it's
being
that.
flamboyant isn't gay though. You dig? Like that's where it's those two things are not like not every gay person is flamboyant.
I don't
yeah.
know any nigga that doesn't associate the two.
This is my opinion on it. I think there's more disgust at someone like like exaggerating who they are to try and gain acceptance, and that's more of what's disgusting and repulsive than actually them being gay. And
Is that why we don't like Drake?
we love Drake because Drake is the GOAT. But yeah, like there's a part of, and like of course y'all gonna have different opinions on this, which is fine. But there's a part of being flamboyant that is like less about the person being gay and more about this outward performance that they are. It's like this play mentality or
What if
something.
it's not a part of performance, right? Like they're
Yeah, no, you may feel that way. You may feel that men skip around and do all
I
this
mean,
shit.
and this is the heart of our disagreement again. Okay, fair enough. But like on the other side, acknowledging that you feel differently, okay, is that I would say that maybe there is some sort of act for some people. I certainly won't speak for the flamboyant gay community, but I think for a lot of there are so what is count as flamboyant, I think, is actually quite wide, right? And I think part of that is just a man who is effeminate, right? And like within the black community and beyond of the black community, when a man is effeminate, right? When he like acts a certain way, like he gets rejected, right? He gets made fun of. So that happens. I think that is included into flamboyancy. I think I would disambiguate here that flamboyancy is like it's kind of in a very exuberant presentation that's
I hate when motherfuckers act like a sassy black woman. I can say that
sassy.
that's
exactly. It's like it's a violation not only of how people feel about sexual orientation, but also how people feel about the gender role man. So when people have negative thoughts about it, like people just should understand that's what it's gonna be.
But it's not.
Like,
but it's also inconsistent, right? That's another part of it that I tend to have these conversations because I live on South Shore. You can Google the neighborhood I live in. I have a lot of niggas that are street niggas, right? So in having these conversations, it'd be like it's not consistent, right? You could say that you don't fuck with flamboyancy, which I would to some degree agree. I don't like flamboyant people. If your energy is like yes, if you're that kind of person, I probably don't want to be. That shit is irritating. But niggas aren't consistent in that. Because if a female did that and they were loud as fuck and irritating and flamboyant as hell, no one would give a shit.
But that's because it's a part of what's like the accepted general like female social role. It is not for males. That's exactly what you're saying. That's what I was like.
No, it's still an exaggeration because I don't know if I think that like being sassy and being a lady are not two interlinked things, right? One is a hyper exaggeration.
Like they're closer than being a man and being that. Much closer. Like generally speaking.
They're like strongly effeminate women that will be a lot more expressive in how they do these things. Same as like I've been around dudes that lived in all women households and use certain exaggerated hand movements, and people accuse them of being gay. It's
Yes.
not necessarily fair.
Yes, I agree.
But
I'm not saying any of this is fair. To be super clear, like I'm not saying what people should do. I'm just saying that's just what it is and what I've digested from being around this issue a lot.
Yeah.
even the women that feel that, even the women that perform this way, it's weird we treat them like they're the natural ones. But if you ask a lot of these women, if you talk like historically about where a lot of these women get from, it actually didn't start. They're copying the gay men. They're copying like the queer men. They're like, oh yeah, that's where a lot of lingo comes from. That's where a
No,
lot
he's
of
not. Wait. We're not. Are you giving sassy black
Yeah,
woman
that's
culture
why.
to the gays?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I know you're not.
no, I said the sassiness,
This is
flamboyance.
why.
A lot of that comes straight from the gay community.
Oh
and,
my
and
fuck.
women would wait a minute. You
Niggas
don't know
can't have
women. Women won't even. I'm not. But I'm talking
This
about
is
this is like from like black queer people, and if you talk to women,
Fuck
they'll
with
tell you
black.
the
No,
exact same thing.
I don't give a fuck
Alone.
what a certain
I'm
section
saying
of our
this,
tribe says. They're not gonna say that. No, bro. That's black women. We're not doing that. We're not
but
giving that
but
to the
black
gays.
but black women don't agree with you. Black women say they get it from gay people.
Nah,
I, will
black
talk,
women definitely
I've
agree.
never this different
Yeah,
sides of the
then
world. I've never
yeah.
met a black woman with your opinion. Every black woman I've had this
You,
conversation
Yeah,
with the
you
same
never,
no,
you never,
you ain't.
you never spoken to a black woman. I
No,
could get 5
you
black
ain't.
women in right now.
I can go get
with it.
five. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, let's go get
You
black
hang
women. Let's
around
bring them
girls
in.
like-
Call a
Wait,
same
wait,
black woman
wait.
right now. Ask her this exact question. She's gonna say them gay motherfuckers need
Wait.
to stop acting like they invented the shit.
Wait,
I accept the
they
challenge.
definitely
Just let me finish. Let me finish what I'm saying.
That's
Like I
a
said, that
yeah.
yeah. So one, yeah, they pull a lot of the things that they do, the behaviors, the mannerisms, the lingo, the fashion from black gay people, gay men. The second thing I was gonna say about this is I think that this, like, we could say it's like, oh, it's about the flamboyance or it's about the just don't act like that. But I think that the reason we're saying that is like reason people have a problem is because it's the visual display of gayness. When we say that, like, oh, okay, we don't have a problem with gay as long as I don't see it, then you just don't want them to be gay. Like, I mean, it's not that you don't want them to be gay, but it's like, oh, okay, as long as you never bring around a man, as long as you act masculine, as long as like there's no way that I can possibly interpret anything about you being gay, then it's fine because I can pretend it doesn't exist. Like
The dual-edged sword to that, because I think a lot of people would say that the expression of sexuality is something that society isn't like all the way okay with. Like, if I let y'all right now, hold on, it's okay. No, it's okay. I'm asking Prime a question. Prime, if I walk through this motherfucker and I just kept expressing that I fuck a lot of women, I get a lot of pussy all day, every day.
We do that all the time.
We do that all. That's
No,
fucking
that's
hip
what
hop.
being a man
That's fucking hip hop.
Wait. Pause. There's a whole group of niggas called red pill niggas that have been ostracized for this exact reason.
That's not why
Walking
they've been
around like you get
ostracized.
bitches all day is corny, and everyone here would agree with me on that, bro.
Hold on. Isn't your preferred genre of music, and my preferred genre of music, just to be clear, hip hop, right? Where
No,
all
but that
the
has nothing
fucking
to do with
time
everyday-
they're
wait, that has nothing to do
expressing
with the
their
arena
male
of
virility,
everyday-
right?
No,
And
let
their
him cook. Let him cook.
ability
It's
to
okay. I take the ISO. It's okay. Cook, Prime. Go ahead.
I get
Yeah.
bitches. Hey, I
get
get bitches.
the entire goddamn time. Hold on. It is perfectly accepted for men to talk about. Now, I can't say that it can't be annoying. I think it can be annoying in hip hop when they do it all the goddamn time. There's other things to rap about, obviously, right? But like a man doing that, yeah, that's perfectly accepted. To say as long as the target is a woman.
Okay, so in hip hop specifically, I would say that it's weird you say that. If you're asking me, the side of hip hop I come from, that shit is frowned upon. Braggadocious ass, I fuck bitches ass, I get money ass, I sell drugs and I shoot nigga ass rap is not accepted from the side of hip hop that I come from. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm speaking to us right now as niggas, like just us here right now. Y'all all agree that somebody that walks around with their sexuality on their sleeve, whether that be I'm gay as fuck or I fuck a lot of bitches, it's corny. Is that something we disagree with the gentleman in this room? Are y'all okay with that?
I do, but we don't, it's not for the same reasons. Like you're applying something from this niche thing of like, yeah, I think that's lame. And it's like, oh yeah, that's why people are like homophobic.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
that
I said that there's a dual-edged sword here that you're not really accounting for. That it's okay. Gay people are gay people. Put this here. Straight people are straight people. Put that there. What I'm saying is there's something that's interlinking here that you're kind of overstepping where, yeah, there are people who are homophobic and they have a hatred of gay people because they're gay. But there's also those same people that would say, and a lot of people, right, gay or straight, that being hypersexual or expressing your sexuality is not something that we would agree with, even if we're talking outside of like gay and straight. Period. That's something that people tend to look at and be like, "Yo, that's fucking weird." Is there a fight? Does somebody disagree that when people wear their sexuality on the screens about who they're sticking their dick in or let's stick in them, that's something that most people look at like, "Yo, that's weird"?
I understand that. I understand why society does it, but I can't justify that because we come from this. There's the majority of society. If you want to deal with the main things, hate when people show up talking about their blackness and talk about like because that's the Republicans like number one talk about is like race doesn't matter. Like we're all bred on the inside. People are people. But I don't mind if niggas show up blickety black. Like I don't. I'm black.
What do you
I'm
mean?
black.
What does this mean to you? Show up blickety black? Like
Oh God!
I don't think I agree. I don't think I agree with you, but I want to understand what you mean before I say that.
I mean, show up like Solus.
I'm about to say, first of all, no. When I say show up,
like characteristics and behavior that like engenders what you're saying.
I'm gonna say you know exactly what I mean. I'm saying someone who puts.
I don't, bro. I'm being serious.
Someone who makes their blackness a focal point of their identity. It's important to them, and it comes out in the way they move, and the way they shop, and the way.
Wait. Let me ask you a direct question. And I feel like you think I'm trying to put you into like undue hardship to explain something that's just obvious. I'm really not. I really don't understand. So give me like an example where, like you said, like you feel like white people don't like this. Give me an example where a white person walks into a room, the black person is doing X, and the white person is upset because they're being blickety black. Like, give me an example of that. Because I really don't follow.
They're wearing a do-rag, right? They are in street clothing. And like it's not like they're coming to work or something. They're just like existing in that way.
Left of that do-rag shit. That's a pretty,
that's pretty, yeah.
With a kufi on.
But a kufi is crazy. With a kufi is insane.
I mean, there's other examples. Using Ebonics, right?
We're acting like gay people show up with like dick shirts on. It's about like when we say like, oh yeah, don't talk about your sexuality. Like when I'm saying that like a gay man speaking with like a higher pitch or like with a certain cadence is enough that like annoys people. Like, man, why you gotta be flamboyant? So it's not. So we don't have to point to the most extreme version of a gay person we can make up. Like that's not the problem. Like people don't like if a gay walks a little bit differently than a straight man. Like all of those things, like little things.
I don't know how gay.
Yeah, they got the lip wrist, right? That's a problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a whole meme.
Yeah, that's a whole meme.
Yeah. That's insanity. That's what that is, though.
And because I was about to say,
insanity, right?
Like this is a part of the bill.
Yes.
All right, so keep going, Solus.
I was about to say no. This is a part of the bill that I tend to shoot a lot of people that are religious. Is that I get that a lot of people have it out for people of Abrahamic religions, especially because they deem them to be like inherently homophobic. That's one thing. But I also say religions, when it comes to sexuality, period, are pretty prudish dickheads. If it was up to the Christians, we all be having good married missionary sex. So like I don't. It's like I get what you're saying. There are people that are homophobic. That's the issue. That happens. I'm not arguing that. But there's also another layer to it where like, do y'all think society, period, if you even take gayness out of it, is like super engaging with sexuality in a way like we're cool with it?
I think there's a prudish element, but like there's people who aren't prudish, who love talking about, hey man, I had shorty in the back fucking the shit out of her, but
they doing that in an interpersonal relationship, not broadcasting it for the world. Like,
but what's broadcasting? Who is broadcasting?
Like when niggas are skipping around the fucking mall just to show that they gay, like shit like that, like that shit, that exaggerated shit.
My man Gambit, let's say, right?
Wait. I do want to get y'all said earlier because y'all said something to me and I didn't get to address it. When y'all talked about like do-rags and bonnets and shit, I think the element of not liking that is like representing poor culture, and I don't think those things are black culture. Like,
I think white people might feel differently about that, though.
No, because I don't like when people walk around the store with a fucking bonnet on. That's just crazy to me. Like, what the fuck?
But hold on, don't do that. Don't do that.
Out of the fucking house.
Well, hold on. But you feel the same way about do-rags too?
What about a nigga in a kente cloth?
This nigga.
What the fuck that is? A what?
Kente cloth.
Yeah. The multicolored cloth. Remember like Nancy Pelosi and them like wore a cloth and like got on their knees and that like yellow, black.
Like imagine how Dr. Umanum dress.
I don't think this is like sleepwear. This is just
I didn't say it's
Some kind of
sleepwear.
It's
I'm
not
saying that.
sleepwear.
Yeah, I was pointing it out as
That's
in
like
like
but that's what a do rag and a bonnet are. That's what I'm saying. Like
But I'm saying that, like,
niggas
I think
that
there's
go
people
out
that
like
have an
that,
issue with niggas that do that as well. Like, I think that's like a way of like, oh, a nigga that walks around, like, say, in a
I don't
kufi
think
and a
so.
kente cloth, I'd be like, oh, he's making his
But a
race.
bonnet and a but
I don't
respectfully, a
I
bonnet
don't
and a
think
do
so.
rag are both devices that are used to maintain one's hair. That really they serve no
They're
different purpose.
sleepwear, bro.
My nigga, but what are they used for though, Gambit? That's my point. Is that they're both two
They're
things that
used
you're.
while sleeping to maintain your hair. So why the fuck
I
you
get the
out?
You ain't
association
gotta
with poverty.
wait, Paul. You ain't gotta wear do rag sleeping. You wear that motherfucker walking around. Like I don't like what do we
Nah, bro. That shit's crazy to me.
all right, I don't personally I don't feel like a do
If
rag.
I don't got a problem with it, but I
damn
understand what Gambit's saying. It's associated with poverty. Like, it's black poverty, but I like there because there's black people. I mean, people gave Monique a lot of beef for that, for her take on bonnets. Like, black people have an issue with like poor black
I don't rock
babies.
with that, bro. Like I don't rock with it. So I don't think that's like a anti-blackness thing. I think like I don't know.
They
That
also
shit
hate niggas in white beaters.
I don't.
Like I'm about to say, you
Yeah.
go to a restaurant and they'll be like, no jerseys, no white beaters, no do rags. Like there's it's not just black. Black people have issues with this too.
Yeah, just you. I acknowledge that you don't interpret it that way, but like I feel like you should also acknowledge that there are white people who interpret it that way, which is where the question was like centered before.
No. But wait, it's important to know that he was saying a broad statement about white people and
Okay.
not maybe some specific subculture of racist white people. He was saying in general, white people don't like this.
Okay.
And I don't think it's true, just like I don't think it's true in the black community.
So
I think there's
Can I just for 1 second real quick because there's a part of this that we're not thinking about. Gambit, even if I agree with you, but I disagree. White people don't know why the fuck niggas wear do-rags. They just know niggas wear do-rags. Like, we're doing too deep for the other side of this conversation. They don't know that that's sleepwear. They don't know why black people wear do-rags. Like, it's not like white people are like in tune with why niggas wear these things. They just know black people wear them. Black
Yeah,
I
would
would
associate it with. Yeah, I would assume they associate it with like, oh, he must be like a gang
Yeah.
member or something. Like, I don't think they think of it as like, oh, he's protecting
I
his
remember
hair.
this
100%.
vividly. I had to.
Is this y'all real opinion?
No, that's
Yeah.
not my opinion. That's my life. I had to argue with my entire high school about this. When they told us why we couldn't wear do-rags, they literally said because that's what gang members wear. They said we cannot wear that because that's what gang members wear. Like I'm being real with you. I get what you're.
No, I agree with that. That's 100%.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I get what you're like saying here, but you're kind of giving white culture too much knowledge on our side of the fence. They don't know why we wear it. They don't know that it's sleepwear. They literally just know black people wear this. Black people bad. Don't wear it.
Same thing with cornrows. Like I don't think they associate cornrows with like a protective style to like help your hair grow. I think
People don't know what the
cornrows
fuck
is
a
like
protective style is.
yeah. Like I think they're like, oh, okay, this is what like those things black ball players and gang members wear.
Yeah. But like going back to something.
Yeah, that's fine.
What you said, but I mean that's why we need things like the Crown Act, you know, for exactly those reasons. But
the Crown Act, what is that?
The Crown Act is anti-hair discrimination legislation. It's being passed in lots of different states.
That's being passed to let niggas wear do-rags and pop. Like
I'm not sure if it counts as
do-rags
in particular.
I guarantee you it doesn't. Is what and it supports my point.
I'm saying
guarantee
like
you it doesn't
cornrows.
include bonnets and it doesn't include. Yeah, cornrows is a different thing. Like
that's what I was addressing.
There's schools that like black kids can't wear cornrows.
Yeah. That's what I was addressing specifically.
I think there are anti-black places. I just don't. I'm specifically saying I don't think do-rags and bonnets fall into that.
Okay, hold on.
Let's whatever the legislation you're talking about doesn't include.
Yeah, I didn't say they did. Right, I was talking about cornrows. To be clear, okay. But moving past that, I want to return back to what you were talking about before about broadcasting, being gay, right? Because I think it's an interesting idea, like what that actually means, and. Yeah, I think it's like being a feminine, right? Even though being a feminine doesn't mean you're gay, right? You can be a feminine man who has a feminine mannerisms, right? And be completely straight. Like it's
like a 95% overlap, though.
It does, yeah. It's a Venn diagram that very much overlaps, but doesn't completely. But these aren't synonymous things, to be very clear. But anyway, it doesn't matter. There's also performative heterosexuality, right? And the way that men bisexuals, and the way that men interact with women or present themselves in front of women, there can be a performative aspect to that where you are like showing your heterosexuality, right? And it can come out in a very stereotypical masculine way, right? But like we don't reject that in the same way.
So I would say the things that y'all call homophobic on this lens even exists in like heterosexual. You'll hear people say, "Yo, stop doing," like, just to be vulgar to make the point. Stop doing that pussy ass shit. Like, you'll hear
Yeah.
niggas tell other niggas that, and it's like anti-effeminate somewhat. Or you'll hear you'll hear people say, "Hey, we need to expand the gender role of male to be able to encompass these other softer like personality types are like actions and blah blah blah." So like when you see it in the lens of there's a gay male receiving it, y'all perceive it as homophobia. When you see it in the lens of just heterosexual people, you say, "Oh, it's just like they're not letting them live their gender to the fullest." But these are the same actions. It just looks worse to y'all when it's one of them.
No, I'm saying that's no. Hold on. Maybe I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, but hold on. When I've said the story previously, right, about my parents, right, when I was younger. I like to, I was like trying to make jokes with my family, right, and I would do that through like, satire, right, like imitating someone, right, just making a joke out of it, right. So sometimes, I would imitate like a woman that was just
Yeah,
on
and they'd be
screen.
like, "Stop that shit immediately." Yeah.
Yeah, but like, but like, I did like, like lip wrist and everything, but I'm imitating a woman
Yeah.
just the same way I would imitate a man, right?
You know,
And
you
they
want to
said,
imitate the gay man like Bam would say, but go ahead, keep
and
going.
they were
They
saying,
are. I can both
No,
argue with
he's
that.
imitating. He just
and
said he's imitating a woman because he knows that's woman culture. But keep going, Bam.
but hold on,
Keep
but
going.
okay, but the point is that like my parents took that as you are like, hey, is he gay? Stop doing that because you might be gay. Even just like just playing around satire, like a 20-second joke, right? That was like, hey, stop that because you might be gay or this might be a sign of you're gay, right? They associate the effeminate thing with gayness, and that's what broadcasting it means.
So yeah, so this is what I would say. Gay has somewhat taken on like it's like interconnected. So I don't know how to really disambiguate these. But when people said stop being gay 20 years ago, it was really stop being an effeminate man in a way. And like there is this connection between effeminate man, men that are more effeminate, and homosexuality. And it's really them wanting to control your gender more so than it is them wanting to control your sexuality. Like and when we see this lens applied, that's what I'm saying. When we see this lens applied to gay people, we perceive it as homosexuality when it's the same pressure that's exerted against you. You said your parents would be like, "Yo, don't tell this woman joke and don't flip your wrist like this." I think that was more of them wanting you to be the man that they want you to be, and
And the man
less
they
about
wanted to
your
be is
sexuality.
straight.
Even if like yes, I agree. They wanted you to be straight, most likely. Yes, most people do. But it's more about them wanting you to be tough and be this guy that can stand up to the world and not crumble. And a lot of people believe, and I'm not saying that this is right. This is how my experiences with the like you're talking about like the boomer generation. This is their mentality. Hey, the world is going to try to crush you, and we want you to be this manly person that stands up to that force and comes out of it
I
unscathed.
I hear you, and
That's
I'm
the energy that
sure
they're
that
giving you.
some people interpret it that way, right? In my experience, specifically my parents, but I'm not just talking about my parents. I think for a lot of other people, they're talking about, hey, like their kid is showing signs of being gay, being fun. I remember even sitcoms talking about that, right? And your kid's a little
Yeah.
funny, right? And it was less that he was weak, but more like he's probably gay.
No,
And
I think it's somewhat both, but mostly about you not being a man.
But I'm saying in either
but then
direction,
I
how
think
is this
yeah, not
healthy?
being a man is not being straight is not being a man in their eyes as well, though.
I do think that too. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and so, yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I agree that they're interconnected, but what I think the energy is most behind is is the gender role when it comes to that stuff.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I see people wanting you to be this strong man for your family, which does put out heteronormativity, right? So I think these things are like definitely glued together, but I think that's more of what the anger is for. And when it gets expressed to you, we don't call it homophobia, but when it gets expressed to a male that's homosexual, we call it homophobia,
But
even though it's the exact same
I
energy.
would have called it. I mean, I didn't have the words for it at the time as a child, right? But I do call that homophobia when it's expressed to
Really?
me, right? Like, they didn't. Well, I mean, at that point in time, they didn't know whether I was gay or not, right? I was so young, right? So they had no idea. But I think that you can, like, anti-blackness can express itself when there's no black people in the room, right? And the same for homophobia. So like they're saying this because they are afraid, hey, he might be gay. And that's a bad thing. So yeah, and we got to stop this somehow.
So let's talk about this on like a different way that it shows up. That's less, well, it's still gender specific, but it's less about sexuality. There's the whole like men shouldn't cry shit, right? Which is like there's a lot of people who are like, hey, we need to expand this and like it should be acceptable for men to cry, and if men are crying in public, it's fine. And there's like the old guard who are like completely against that, and they're like, no, like niggas just shouldn't be out here fucking crying in the wild. Like that's crazy, right? That same energy is the don't do this shit with your wrist energy. All of that shit is together. And when it shows up on lines that somewhat represent sexuality, it gets murky. But when you look at it in all of these other angles, you can see that no, it's just we want you to be a strong man. And these are all characteristics that we think strong men have.
I agree. I agree with you on that point. But I think I would say is that just like everything else, this is a spectrum, right? So what you
for
had,
sure.
yeah, what you identified, I think it matches what you were saying previously, in that like the main focus of the thing that they find problematic there is more that strong men don't cry, right? And so they are strong. Or sorry, yeah, a strong man doesn't cry. And then on the other side, the thing I was describing is more like dealing with homophobia, but it's still mixed with like being a strong individual, because strong men aren't gay. So I think yeah, these are exist on a continuum there. But yeah, I acknowledge what you're saying basically. Kai and Bam, I think you guys want to say stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say either way, it's unhealthy because saying that men shouldn't cry, show emotions, or feel like they need emotional support has caused a lot of damage for men that is not going to be addressed. Like the rate of men unlifing themselves is based on this thought process. So, and I would agree with Prime, if it's in that direction, it's definitely homophobia. It's fear that your kid may be gay, and that even
But
if,
even if you tell them not to cry, you think that's homophobia?
for the reasons that is being stated, yeah, because we don't want to raise a girly man.
But we don't want to raise a girly man, isn't we don't want to raise a gay man. And I want you to understand that there's a difference there.
I'm saying it hedges very, like it's a very slim margin between it is what it is and it could be seen a different way.
No, it's the same energy as a father of that generation wanting to take their kids hunting and fishing. All of that is the same energy of what they consider man, and they're like trying to force that onto the next generation because they think that'll be good. Now, when you say there's negative problems with it, and there are men that can't express themselves and they go on to like self harm and stuff like that, that's the bad outcomes. But I'm just expressing that the energy that I perceive, and I interact with lots and lots and lots of males in that generation. What I see them is, hey, we want you all to be strong because we're about to be gone, and we think there's very weak shit about y'all that's going to be exploited. And some of that does fall into like sexual orientation type conversations, but a lot of it is just core to what they believe a man. And I agree with Prime that there's some overlap there in man and heterosexual, but I see them express their like if you take one of those people and you give them a gay song that doesn't represent effeminately and is just like doing their business whatever, but they're like representing as a man, most of those people are okay with those people.
Most?
Like those, yeah.
If you're saying if you had to tweak between the two, a straight son who
I'm saying
about to say is a
most.
pretty boy.
I'm saying most. Wait,
Yeah.
what you mean? Hold on, wait. I'll ask your question again because I wasn't thinking what
Yeah,
you went.
I'm saying like you're saying that most parents would prefer a masculine presenting gay son than a straight pretty boy son. Like, oh yeah, he got soft hands, blah blah blah. But he got
No, that wasn't the claim I was making.
oh
I was making the claim that in homosexual people, what I see is them accept that type of homosexual person more so than the other effeminate person.
no, yeah, I could accept that.
And
But yeah,
I
because
believe they
they appear
wait,
less gay.
but I don't think it's about them appearing less gay. I think it's more about them being closer to what those people define as man.
Okay. I think it's the former
It's,
because
and somebody said this earlier when I can't was it Solus? It might have been Solus or Fanatic, but somebody was like they were saying the same thing that I'm saying now in a slightly different way, and I was like, yeah, that's insightful and that's definitely what I believe. But like you'll hear people of that generation say if they had a son that was going to be gay and they were that, they'd be more okay with it and be okay with it, and the family would accept it more so than like this other scenario.
yeah, I agree. They would be more okay with it if they were like less presenting as such. I don't disagree with that. But like when I look at, I thought you were doing.
But wait. But I want you to reconcile that. Like, what's your reason for thinking that a lot of people would accept that situation? Because what I'm saying is, people are looking at that situation saying, okay, this is closer to what I think a man should be than this flamboyant person that I think is going to be taken advantage of, probably raped, all this other shit. Right? Like, that's the world that I think those people are viewing, whether or not this person is going to be exploited.
Yeah.
And that's why they're more okay with this
I
than
don't
the
think
others.
so. I think that there's like I'm about to say if Zeus is a terrible network, but there is on Zeus network they did a Bad Boys Club, that had like a bunch of like black gay men. They had
Does
different.
Bad Boys, does the word Bad Boys Club supposed to give me some information? Because I'm just saying I don't know what that means.
That's what I was describing what it is. They had
Okay.
a bunch of men, mostly gay. There were a few straight, but mostly gay, that were across the spectrum of like masculine to more effeminate. But where the spectrum of a masculine to effeminate had no association with the spectrum of strength or like confidence or like ability to like stand up and defend himself. There was this one like bigger gay dude who was pretty effeminate, but he was whooping everybody ass in there, and he didn't take no
Yeah.
shit. But he was still very effeminate, and he was still speaking on. He had some of the like he had a tougher relationship with his parents. And I don't think it was about like out of. I don't think that the issue was like, oh, I don't want anything to happen to him. I don't think it was coming from a place of love. I think it was coming
For
from a place
him
of like.
specifically, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, yes, I'm using this as an example because it's the first example that came to mind. But that's why I'm parsing it to believe, like, I don't believe what you're saying is like, oh, parents just want their children to be safe and be able to defend themselves. I don't believe that's the place it's coming from. Like, I don't think it's coming from this place of love. I think it's coming from a place of
Wait,
like you're an embarrassment. You're like, you show up as this like gay presenting person because
Yeah.
because they have daughters and there's people who have feminine daughters who they still raise to be able to protect themselves. They figure out how to do that. So I think you can, even if you have a son that's effeminate, you can still raise them to be able to
A
keep himself safe.
strong, like,
so
yeah.
wait, so wait, yeah, this is
But I'm
hard
thinking
because
they
maybe
wouldn't want to have to confront the idea that they're gay because they don't present as gay, so they don't have to think about it when they look at them.
Yeah, we could, like I said, it's don't ask, don't tell. Like we don't have to talk about it. Like I can look at them.
I don't. So wait, this conversation is hard because I don't know what all I have said and I haven't said. I do think heterosexual parents don't want homosexual kids and they want heterosexual kids because their whole like thought of the future is I'm working hard for my kids who are going to work hard for their kids and blah blah blah, right? So I'm not saying that there's not a part of homosexuality that people disagree with. So I hope I haven't made that statement.
Well, it
I
kind of
do agree
implies that if you are that way, you would not be able to take care of a family and do the things and be strong.
Well, because you can't have one that way, right? Like,
well, you couldn't birth a
You
kid.
absolutely can.
He's speaking on birth. He's speaking on like
like most people's perception of their kids isn't, oh, my kids are gonna grow old and like adopt kids, right?
yeah,
Like
or in vitro.
primarily
They're not thinking of
Or in
that.
vitro.
Yeah,
They're not thinking about either though. I'm saying parents aren't thinking about that with their like
yeah, like
5-year-old.
yeah, most people because think about it, they're parents to their kids, and they're thinking about that biological relationship that they have, and they're assuming that my kids are going to grow up and have the same relationship, and then I'll have this relationship with their kids. But I want to make it clear that yes, if you bring up a gay guy and you say that his heterosexual parents, maybe even homosexual parents, had a problem with his homosexuality, I'm never going to disagree that that's an axis of conflict and people don't like that. I'm never going to disagree with that. I'm saying when it comes to flamboyance, the conversation we were having earlier, and why people have the attitudes that they have against flamboyance, I think primarily it's like we want you to be a man, and secondarily is about sexual orientation. Which
Okay,
is why we
I
see
can
it with
accept you saying he
crime.
wants to be a man. I was pushing back against the idea that it was coming from like this place of like I want you to be safe, or like it was coming from a place of love. I
I
think it's
think
just from a
all
place
of
of
that is
prejudice.
man. All of that is the same
But
conversation.
why don't people want their daughters to be that same masculine person? They would be safer if they were strong because studs typically come off as they protect themselves.
Because I think we understand that that isn't the role that most heterosexual men want women to play.
Hey, we got there. It pushes against what people's normal sensibilities would be.
No, I said that. I said that most people with children, heterosexual relationship, envision their kids living somewhat the same life. So the concept of, hey, I'm gonna have this super hard daughter, I understand that that's not gonna make her a good choice for people to be with. So I wouldn't want to raise her with these like strong masculine traits, knowing that it's gonna be off-putting to the people that I see someone as she would have a relationship with.
I don't know.
Do you
it's possible
disagree?
what you're saying is true, but I don't think I think you're doing such a leap of like good faith for most people. Like I want to have a son and I want him to be traditionally masculine and I played football and I want him to play football like me and like hit people really hard, be tough. Now this isn't
That's
because
because you perceive that as a strong man. Yes, it is.
but I don't think it makes him a good person. If anything, I'm putting him at risk. Like I understand the complications of football. I'm not pulling it because I want him to be safe. It's not coming from a place of love why I want him to do this. It's just like a personal
It
preference.
is.
No,
No, it
I'm telling
is.
you, it's not. It's not coming from a place of
No,
love.
I'm disagreeing with how
You're
you.
disagreeing with
Yes,
why I
yes.
want
No,
my
I
son to play
am.
football.
Yes,
You
yes,
think I
I
want my
am.
son to play football because I love him, or because I think it would be cool that my son plays football like I play
I
football?
think, I think you think there are great characteristics out of teamwork. I think you think that there are people who can survive in that space have some level of like whatever that word is that I can't think of right now, but that it shit.
I
And
agree.
I
Oh, no,
think
that.
that's what you want your kid to have. It is secondary about
No,
him actually
that's
playing
secondary.
football.
No, I agree with everything you said. No, I do think football builds character or reveals character. It depends on who you ask. But no, it primarily because like I play and I think it would look really cool. Because if they got all of those same characteristics from doing hockey, I would be
No,
less.
it's
I
the
would be.
pay. No, no. This is everything. This is your paved path to masculinity,
Yeah, I just
and
want them to
this
do
is
the
the
things
way
that I want
that
them to
you.
do.
No, that's what I'm saying. You have a pathway where you think about your masculinity,
Hmm.
and you're like, well, this is a pathway that I know is successful because I think I'm successfully a man. So this is the path that I want my kids to take. This is the same heteronormativity of parents wanting their daughters to represent feminine and wanting their sons to be masculine. Like you have a pathway that you've identified that builds character, and this is the way that I think the outcome is good. So you want your son to do it. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah,
Now, whether or
I
not
think it's
whether you
reasonable,
should
but I'm
force
saying
your
I don't
son
think
to
it's
do
doing
it,
it because of a place of love. I'm just doing it because I made them and
sure.
I want them to do the things that I want them to do.
No,
Like, because
no.
I want my daughter to do gymnastics because I think like wow, or play tennis. 'Cause I think Simone Biles and Serena
Yeah,
Williams.
because that is a feminine shit. Of course you do. But if your son was like, "Yo, dad, I'm gonna grow up and I'm never going on ABE," you wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, like Jesus Christ." Football represents more of what you see encompassing masculinity. That's why, and your daughter in gymnastics,
Mhm.
like encompasses that for femininity.
Yeah, I just think the gymnastic girls don't like I'm always struggled with making weight my entire life. I've always had like fluctuations of like being at some point he's really skinny and bigger, and I think that like girls that do gymnastics don't get fat.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly, bro. And you think
Um,
that's healthy, and that's gonna be easier for her to find a mate if she was in some kind of extreme physical activity. Yes.
yeah,
I agree. All the same reasons.
sure, but yeah, but like I said, but I don't, but like I said, I don't know. I just have this like if you call, you can stretch out to call all that love. I just think it's a parent trying to map out like what the life I want my kids to live, and I have this shape perception of what like would be most ideal for me, what would bring me the most happiness, and it's not really about their happiness. Maybe once they exist, I can appeal to their happiness, but right now in my head, there's these non-existent children, like
You would
their
say
happiness isn't like really a
you would
factor in the
say
equation.
you would say there are parts of us when our weight fluctuates that doesn't like that. There's internal mental damage. There's external pressure. There's all of these things, and that's something that you don't want your kid to go through. I think you aren't thinking deeply of, and it's probably I don't think you have kids, right?
No.
It's probably because you don't have kids. I don't think you're thinking deeply enough about why you have the thoughts that you have, and I think until you have kids, you perceive the world more selfishly because you can be more selfish. And I think if you focus on these thoughts once you have a kid, you're going to come to a different realization about some of the beliefs that you have.
And
So I'm
that's
not
what I
saying
was
you're, yeah, go ahead.
that's what I was thinking is inherently selfish. And for you to expect for your kid to do what you think is best for them in that sense without them being able to make the choice, it should be underlying, hey, I want them to be healthy. Hey, I want them to be capable of doing such, but it doesn't mean they have to be a certain way or like what you like.
Yeah. So that's why when he said what he said earlier about football, I said I can understand him wanting it, but whether or not he should force his kid to do it is a whole different conversation. So I agree with you. We shouldn't like. There's this like part of the black community that's like, I want my kid to make it rich for me. And like when we look at the way that we interact with sports, there's like this hope that's tied to it where yes, my kid is going to be the one. So I agree that that energy exists in trying to like force your kids into either something that you like or something that you did. I agree with you that that exists, and I agree with you that that should be pushed back. But I I think it's okay for parents to express what they might want because they're trying to provide some kind of like plan for their kids, but they should be okay that there are aspects of the plan that their kid is not going to want to do, and they should be okay with that.
I think we'll say, I don't know. I'm good here.
Yeah. I'll leave it be.
What if
Hey,
your child hates games, Prom? Like hates them. He thinks like, wow, dad,
I
this
feel
is
real.
lame.
I'd feel real sad about that. Like, I love to share gaming with my child. Like, I would feel sad in the way my dad felt sad. Where like I was into boxing. This is the one sport that he's into, and I wasn't interested in cars. And he was like a mechanic growing up, main streets of Haiti. Like I think I'd feel the exact same way. Like, I really want to share this with you, but like you show literally zero interest. And I like the boxing thing just bored me. The mechanic thing, like I was actively hostile to, because he tried to force it on me. Um, and so yeah, I hope if I do ever have kids, I hope to not go through that. I hope I can share this with them, but I'll have to accept that maybe I won't be able to.
Just start them young.
Did you end up like by force taking in any of the mechanic stuff? Like, would
No,
you know like,
I
oh,
know nothing. No, I
you
know
know nothing? Like, oh man, my alternator just
I don't
out
know what an
now.
alternator does. I honestly don't know.
And I see why your dad is a little sad.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's worthwhile for me to learn it. I think I'd have been thinking at some point, if I have cash, I'd like to like take some sort of course or something online to understand what that stuff is. But I know nothing other than brakes and the accelerator. It's the engine. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey y'all. Thanks for coming through. Hey, if you've appreciated any of this, consider hitting the follow button. If you're new here, hit the follow button to see another one of our conversations. Consider supporting the channel. I hadn't asked the entire time. We kind of just jumped into it, right? Because we didn't think it would even go for this long. But in any case, consider supporting the channel. Subs to the channel, give subs. So if you like this, if you have an Amazon Prime, just Prime Gaming, consider using that here. 1 free sub per month. Use that on the channel. Consider using your bits and all that good stuff. That's how we keep this going. Thank you, Gambit, for resubbing with your Prime Gaming. Hey, thank you so much for using that. Seriously, it's really kind of you. But yeah, consider gifting bits or gifting subs or resubbing, like our friend Gambit did.
Wait, hold on. Bam is trying to be sneaky. Hold on, dude. Let me take care of this real quick. What you doing, bro? Like this is, brother. Trying to, we're doing stuff like that, bro. Don't be trying to be like that, bro.
Thank you so much for the kindness. Cheers, Gambit. Always been a real one. Thank you for the 5 subs here. Erotic robotic. He says maybe next time have someone queer on panel. We actually did have someone queer. They fell asleep. We had a queer person.
That's why we
panel.
don't want our kid. No, I'm joking. It's completely a joke because we're gonna believe this. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. We did have some queer representation. We like to have more queer representation. Erotic rabbit. I'm not sure if you're a queer individual.
Wait, Bam is queer.
I'm very happy.
No, I said queer, not gay. You can't use that.
Oh yeah, you're right. Wait, what is queer? Queer's got a second meaning too. I don't even know the lingo. Yeah, I don't know the lingo. What's the queer means something else too, don't it?
Queer just is a stupid word. That's what it means.
Is it baby? Is it weak? Oh, like that was very queer of you.
It's another word for homosexual. It's one of the infinite words.
I think I'm not. I love dick. Okay, I'm assuming but you're a woman. Okay, erotic rabbit. Thank you for clearing that up. Anyway, but we love have more gay individuals here. Or individuals
strange. It can be strange or odd.
Yeah, strange, odd, or it can be a sexual thing, or it can be to.
It's a way to say I'm homosexual without saying homosexual. It's like it's internalized homophobia as well.
No, not wait. What? No, it's not eternal. Bam,
absolutely.
Bam, thank you for the sub. Hey, if we get one more sub or resub, we can start us up the hype train. It'd be in great position if we could do that in the next 3 minutes. So anyone out there, sub to the channel, get bits of subs or resub, and we can start ourselves a hype train. So consider doing that. Oh my God, respect.
Wait, y'all don't think queer is internal?
Why would it be? It's like saying, hey, Waterkai, thank you so much for gifting us up to Erotic Rabbit, right? Even though they're not gay, we still accept you, Erotic Rabbit, despite not being a lesbian. You're still welcome here.
I feel like it's like black people that say African American.
Yeah, I think it's more like black people like calling themselves the N-word, right? Because queer was an insult used against them. Not saying these two things are equivalent. I understand that, right? But I'm saying that like that's a term that they took back. And I'm not sure. Are you still there, friend?
Yeah, he's here.
Gambit?
His voice is here.
His voice is not here.
Well, I mean, he's in chat.
Whatever. Oh, I didn't see him.
No, not in chat. In the voice channel.
Yeah, no. He's in the voice channel. But I was asking him if we can. Yeah, can you hear us, Gambit? If you can hear us, if we can't hear you, I think you got it disconnected. That's unfortunate. We're at 25% of a level 2 hype train. Consider helping out the channel. Thank you to the people who support so far. We are level 2 hype train, 25% done, 75% left. Can we get to level 3 hype train? Sub to the channel, get bits of subs. It'd be really helpful, very kind of you. It's how we support this community, how we keep it going. So consider resubbing to the channel, get after reviewing, and Javon's is the best thing. In our emotes.
Oh, he went out, and you can bring him back in.
Oh, okay. Let me pull him back in.
I understand why. I understand why like bi men call themselves pan. Pan feels better. I get you. Bi feels.
No, it's all internalized.
No, bi and pan aren't the same thing, right?
They are.
They're not the same thing. They're literally not the same thing.
No,
they're not the same thing.
We're talking.
So this is why I'm glad you guys are saying this, because now it lets me understand the level of conversation I'm having here, right? And we also say queer. Well, at least Gambit says queer is internalized homophobia. I'm like, this person isn't actually engaged with the.
Do you think there's someone a bi person wouldn't have sex with because of their gender?
I'll talk to you about that in a second.
Hold on. Wait. we understand the definition of these terms and how people try to use them. Yes, I'm saying that I don't care who's a woman, and yes, I'm only interested in women, but I don't care if they're like trans or cis. I understand what the words mean. They're just all internalized homophobia, and they don't want to say, "Yes, I'm gay." That's what it is.
Yeah. So patently
For
disagree with you.
So I'm not at Gia's shoes like reduction, but I'm saying that like bi and pan, these people have sex with the same people.
No, they don't.
Not necessarily.
No, they
It's how a person presents.
Not necessarily they don't, but they have sex
don't.
with both. No, they have sex with both sexes, which is what matters.
Oh my God! But
We just create gender in sexuality.
Oh my God!
So
So
try
what kind you try you give it a first go before I yell at these guys.
So
okay, what's the definition of bisexual, Watercott? What is the definition of bisexual? You're interested in both sexes. Now, what you're going to say is pan people are interested in both sexes representing as one gender, but they're still interested in both sexes. So they're they're like bisexual or homosexual, and they just don't want to say it. They just want to do it with extra steps because it feels better. I have my nice little category. I'm not the same as those guys. I won't fuck a male that looks like a male, but I fuck a male that looks like a female. It's just all internalized homophobia. People should just admit, yes, I'm homosexual.
If you assume there are only two genders.
Whatever gender,
I don't know a bi person that's like
bi means two genders.
So but I'm saying
no.
You think bi people wouldn't sleep with trans people? You think that people say I'm bi, they're like, oh yeah,
lots of bi people wouldn't sleep with trans.
No,
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. This is what you gotta understand. There are bi people that will do that, but that's just their own brand.
Hold on.
We've created different words for different brands.
Hold on. You think a woman who's bisexual says means definitionally means they'd also sleep with a trans man? You think definitionally that they would do that? Sleeping with a cis woman, they would sleep with a trans. Oh my God! Like you guys don't know, you don't know, but just like you said, just like Bam said previously, that people here don't know black women.
Anyone,
they don't know bisexual people.
I'm about to say you're the only. I'm not calling them sluts like you, Prom. I'm not saying they.
I'm not calling them sluts.
You just, I don't know why you just called them sluts. Like I
didn't call anyone a slut. I don't know what you're doing, so I don't know.
Kind of crazy. I'm saying that they're choosy, but yeah, they would like they would have
choosy. Yeah, I'm saying the opposite. That they wouldn't sleep with them.
You think they wouldn't sleep with a trans man? But most bi women is getting effed by black studs. They are, and studs are like one step before trans men.
One step before
a trans men.
Okay,
a stud is,
and
bi women love studs.
So wait. I want to be very clear. I don't agree with Bam, but I agree what's underneath the things that he's expressing now. When you say you're bisexual, when we say the word bisexual and the word homosexual and heterosexual, they're all about the sex of the people that are involved. I think we've constructed gender on top to create different brands of bisexuality, or different brands of homosexuality, and that's why all of these different categories is. Because I want to say I'm this type of bisexual, I'm that type of bisexual. So I don't agree with Bam that means that they'll all play. I don't mean that they'll all play and interact with the same genders. Bi means a person that is sexual attraction to both sexes.
If something is bicameral, bilateral, what is the bi doing?
Wait a minute. You think a bi person wouldn't, like by definition, wouldn't have sex with a trans person? People said
I didn't say that.
I'm asking Kai because Kai's holding on this idea of like they only mean two. Do you think bi people really mean two? Or do you mean they have sex with who they feel like?
Bi means.
Wait, so
bi is referring to sex.
Yeah, they have sex with lots of different people. Destiny's bi, and Destiny, I think he had a relationship with a trans woman.
I don't know what Destiny does.
I'm pretty sure he said it.
Nah, that's never happened. I'm pretty sure that's never happened.
I'm pretty sure he
Destiny has the right amount of homophobia. He never do such a thing. I'm joking.
Or maybe he almost.
I don't know anything about what Destiny's done.
But yeah, being bi doesn't mean that you're not open to trans people. Like I said, it's just a word choice to me. Like that doesn't mean that you're going to have sex with anyone, but that means that like people you find hot. Like
have you ever
what they
heard
call themselves are irrelevant.
Have you ever heard the term gender non-binary?
Yeah. Wait, gender, non-conformity, they don't identify as men or women.
It's just another flavor of
if a bi person finds them attractive, they're not going to hear that identity and like, oh crap, I can't F you now.
Just like sapiosexual women.
I mean, it's just not.
That's entirely.
Bi people have sex with who they find attractive. That's what bi people do. They'll have sex with anyone they find attractive. Like it doesn't matter what they identify as. Like, oh, I'm a trans man. Like if they think that's like if they think you're that you look like a hot woman, like they don't care about your you identify as a man. They're open down for it. Now there's cis hetero men. Arguably, it depends on your brand. There's cis hetero men that can find women attractive, and then based on how they identify, wouldn't have sex with them.
You would have to completely remove gender non-binary from this equation to have just straight up bi.
No, you wouldn't. No, you don't. That's not what bi people don't care about.
We don't care about gender non-conforming. We care about whether it's male or female, not whether it's
he said we
woman, man.
That's binary.
What?
But yeah, bi people are fine. Bi people don't care about that.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what do you think I'm saying? When I say we in this conversation, I'm saying how we define bisexual, not how we feel about these things. We define bisexual by you're a person that would engage in sex with either sex. And we don't care about the gender of those people. We care about the sex of those people.
And if we find them attractive. That's the only thing they're concerned with.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, I feel like you have to know queer people, guy. There's no way you don't know bi people in real life. They will get busy.
Wait, queer and bi aren't the same. Queer is
right.
A different word that they use to say they're bisexual.
What?
You're right. But
it's all
we can end this. This isn't that important, but yeah, bi people
bad.
But yeah, bi people will have sex with anyone they like. And if they
hold on. But right there, Bam. Right? They are. It's because for bisexual, just like with straight individuals, right, or standard lesbian or gay individuals, right, there has to be a level of sexual attraction there at a certain point, right? Like you have to look a certain way. For pansexual people, it's different. They aren't looking for sexual attraction in the same way. When they're choosing their partners. So like no matter how they may present, right, whether they're masculine or feminine or other or whatever, this they might still consider them to be a partner in a way that a bisexual person wouldn't. So these two things are not the same.
I don't think that's how people use pan. At least not the people.
That's literally because you don't know anything about pan. I agree. This whole conversation is like you not knowing anything about what pan is.
I didn't say I didn't know. I said that's not how people use pan. I'm saying what you just said was wrong. How people use pan is they just. How people use pan is they doing the same thing. That means I'll F who I want to F. But I know people who identify as pan who say they don't like masculine men. They don't like men who present masculine. They'll have sex with a man, but they don't like they don't like
I would disagree with their use of the term pan, right? Just like how other people use terms incorrectly and how people like glom onto all kinds of like sexual like identities. Then I would disagree with their use.
Sure, you can say, but that's the crux of my argument. I'm saying that when people use these words, I get that you can have your definition, but when people use the words, they mean the exact same thing.
Hold on, no, that's different. Hold on, now you just stretched it because yes, I can understand that people use them. Can use them incorrectly. That doesn't mean these identities don't exist and aren't a thing in themselves that is distinct, right? Just because you know people who incorrectly group them. Oh my God, incorrectly. I love Gavin. Gavin's great. Who incorrectly categorize themselves in that way doesn't mean that takes away the validity of this distinct category.
That's fine. I don't even have to disagree with what you're saying. I'm saying how everyone in real life uses the words.
Not everyone in real life. That's not everyone. And I disagree there as well. Oh. Everyone in real life don't use that. I can acknowledge some people will use it incorrectly. Most? That isn't everyone. Most. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, because Bam, I know you're not going to pull out steady. So let's just say that we're both. This is just our feelings. Okay, my feelings
are correct.
Okay,
that's the only difference between that two
all right, Negro. Okay, Negro. This is what happens when you try to have fun. All right, man. Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Shout out to all my gay niggas.
And remember, gay in this sense, right? Gay and homosexual in this sense, it's just a blob, right?
It does.
Anything
when I say
that
gay
ain't
niggas,
straight,
I mean everybody.
Anything that ain't straight falls under gay. So he's hugging everybody.
Just end it there. Just end it there, bro. Just end it there. No.
Exactly.
You're right. No, we're done. All right, guys. Well, appreciate y'all for coming out this week. Anything that is not straight is just a different flavor of gay.
Okay.
I agree with Prime. Yeah, this was. I'm happy I was able to make it. I'm sorry I was late. We had an
Okay.
issue that happened that I had to jump on. It was kind of unexpected, but
Yeah.
everything is all right now. I'm happy
No
I was able to
worries.
make it this week.
A
Happy
shootout.
to see you, Bam. Happy to see you, Waterkai. Always happy to see you, Prime.
Always
And,
happy to see
I
you
was
too,
happy to see
friend.
Polar Symphomatic too. So, but yeah, I'll pass it over to Bam for his outro now. I promise to shut this down.
Okay.
If y'all want a cat, message me and I'll figure out how to get you a cat. I don't want a
Really?
cat. Yeah.
How old is it? 6 weeks or less?
Probably. It's really small. You want to see it?
Yeah. Shoot me pictures in the group.
All right. Let's see it.
I may do that.
I can bring it live for real. I can bring it on. It just came in my house. I don't know how it got in my house.
Yeah. He
Oh no, never mind. I'm less interested now. Way less interested. Yeah.
Let's go, Waterkai. Thank you for being here, friend.
Yeah, thanks for the conversation. This was enlightening as well as discouraging in so many ways, but still a great conversation. Thank you for having me.
And Gambit just put out there. Thank you for always being a support to this community, being kind to me. All right. You're a real one. Bam's a real one. Kai's a real one. And shout out to any of our subscribers, who are sticking with this channel. Like you out there, respect. I see you are one of our Twitch users. I see you out there. So I'm gonna raid someone. She looks cute. That's why I'm doing it.
Is she black?
So that's what
it must be Monda Scott. It's Monda Scott. Who is it?
This is not Monda Scott.
Oh,
no,
who?
Monda Scott is a cutie. I've seen this person before. So we are all going to.
We're gonna judge you if this person not that cute.
She is brown of some kind.
Is this Emmy
she might be
_XI?
black. This is not that. But we are going to learn. We're going to grow. We're going to